Welcome back to another Conductor Sunday live stream. I'm your host, ThemePark Conductor, and today we have two amazing guests. One is basically I call him the Marn Man. You know what I mean? The Marn Man, Orange Grove, the one and only. And we got a new guest on that's never been on the show before, so I want you guys to give him a very warm welcome. But we're going to start with Mr. Orange Grove 55 himself, the one and only. How you doing today, sir? And where can everyone find you on social media?
Hey, you can find this modern man right here on YouTube. We talk a lot about, and Conductor is on my channel all the time. We have a great crew over there at OG55. We got Conductor, we got Jay Shear, we got Theme Park Philosophy, and Mr. Webb. But just a whole bunch of great people. We talk theme park, studio, all that good stuff. But you can find us right here on YouTube, Orange Grove 55. You can also find me on Instagram, Orange Grove 55, and you can also find me on X, Orange Grove 55. And again, Conductor, I want to thank you for having me on, brother. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. And a big congratulations as you hit another milestone. Just what was it last week? You passed 14,000. Oh, 13,000 subscribers.
Yeah, but now I'm 14.
And now you're 14. God, I can't even keep track anymore. This is crazy.
Well, it's weird because YouTube is like this weird thing where like it ebbs and flows. So like I'll go through a period like 2 and 3 months of like no growth. Like I'll be stuck at a number for the longest time. And then out of nowhere, you have like a video that really hits and that like just propels you, you know? So yeah, 14. So yeah, we're getting there. We're almost at 15K. So
hey, there you go. I can't wait. And the one and only Magic and the Murphys, a first-time guest on Conductor Sunday live stream. How you doing today, and where can everyone find you on social media?
I am doing absolutely great, sir. Thank you very much for having me, Conductor, OG55. Nice to see you. I appreciate everybody having me. My name's Austin. My wife and I do live streams in the parks. We do vlogs, we do shorts, we do all this stuff. You can find us Magic and the Murphys at YouTube, and then we're also on X, TikTok, Instagram, all the social media places. If you go to our YouTube channel, there's a link in the bio. You can just click there, and it's all listed right there. But it is Magic and the Murphys, all spelled out the way it is over there. On screen. So there it is.
No, 100%. I'm so glad you were able to take time out of your busy schedule to be here. And since you are a Florida vlogger, believe me, this won't be the only time you'll be on these live streams because, between Bio Reconstruct doing the aerial photos, which I don't know how he gets away with it, but he does, and you and other people like Jared from Capture the Magic, I can insist that you guys will be on quite frequently, especially as construction ramps up out there.
I am happy to be here, happy to toss my thoughts in the chat, talk to everybody, talk to anybody, whoever will listen, I'm willing to talk to.
Hey.
It's good somebody else has a break so my wife doesn't have to listen to me all the time.
So. Oh my gosh, you guys are great. So I wanna go over some I wanna go over some details that's happening at the moment with Animal Kingdom, because this is obviously the Tropical America's construction site, and I want to get your guys' idea of what we're looking at. How far in the construction you think we are? Could there possibly be delays? Are you excited for it? Not excited for it? So I'm going to start with Magic and the Murphys because you are our Florida correspondent tonight.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to get your opinion. So I'm going to be playing it, no sound, so that way copyright doesn't exist. And just walk us through what we're looking at here.
Well, so here's my deal. Number one, I think as sad as everybody was to see Dinosaur go, which is what you're looking at there in the bottom section of the map right now. That's the old dinosaur ride-through building. As sad as everybody is to see Dinosaur go, it was time. We needed a refresh. Half the people who were visiting Walt Disney World had never even seen the dinosaur movie. It's not exactly something that was super popular among the kids these days, and it's crazy to see, like, from this angle, how much they've already just clean slated.
Yeah.
I think it's needed. I think it's great to see that it's coming into the park. I don't know how long until it's actually going to be there. I think they're predicting like 28, I think is what they're saying, somewhere in 28. But at the end of the day, who knows with these types of things? But I mean, I'm not a construction expert, but it looks like it's going well. So I don't know. But I'm just excited. The Animal Kingdom has needed a refresh for so long that, like, it's finally happening. It's just exciting.
I know, right?
Well, it's crazy, right? Because this was actually, I only been to Walt Disney World once, right? But I did this park twice when I was down there because I'm a vibes guy. I love vibes, and this park is mostly vibes. It's not really heavy on the rides, but that's okay. You know, I'm okay with that. But this area, when it was Dino Land, I believe it was called, just felt weird. Like the rest of the park has this very like lived in, like cultural sort of vibe, right? The different countries and the way it just felt very sort of organic and like real world. And then you turn the corner and you get into this very like plasticky, brightly colored area. I just felt like this area stuck out like a sore thumb. So I think this Tropical America's Land is perfect. This is going to feel like the rest of the park, right? I'm also very curious because we're getting a version of Indiana Jones Adventure here in Florida now.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious because we're getting some of these additions, right? Whether it be Indiana Jones or the new Cars Land area in Magic Kingdom, and the Pandora area over there at DCA. But we're getting these new additions without the original creators. And what I mean by that is we're going to have an Indiana Jones ride being built without Tony Baxter. We're going to have a Cars Land with no John Lasseter, right? And we're going to have a Pandora really with no Joe Rohde. I haven't heard anything about his involvement with our Pandora. So I'm very curious how these turn out without those geniuses, really, that, you know, kind of spearheading these projects. Now, I am very optimistic. I think all of these projects are going to be amazing. I'm just very curious as to how it shakes out without those key figures involved, right?
I was under the impression that Joe Rohde was coming out of retirement to help with Tropical Americas. I think he's working on this Tropical Americas project.
Oh, that's cool.
I think he is coming back because Joe Rohde basically built Animal Kingdom, right?
Yeah.
Animal Kingdom is Joe Rohde's baby from the very first sketch all the way forward. And Animal Kingdom, first and foremost, is a zoo, right? Like, it is supposed to be a member of the Zoological Society, and I think they do great with that. The Kilimanjaro safaris, I could ride Kilimanjaro safaris for days on end, because you cannot get that kind of experience anywhere else in the United States, where, like, there is a rhino that's going to walk right up to your truck and be like 10 feet away from you. You can't get that anywhere else in the United States. In order to get that, I got to go to Africa to actually see a rhino in the wild, which is just cost prohibitive. So, like, I think it's really great that he's coming back and he's gonna have some say in this one. But I mean, Tony Baxter, with his deep love of Big Thunder Mountain, they just did all the revamp here, and I don't think he was involved. I don't think he came out of retirement for that. So it is going to be interesting to see, like, how does the arc happen from the OG Imagineers to the new generation. How is this handoff going to happen? And is it going to work for us as guests? Like, are we really going to walk in here and be actually interested in what they end up coming up with? Or are we going to be like, this fell flat? I don't know.
See, that's the question I have, you know, because I never got to experience Dino Land USA, but from what I've seen on videos, pictures, it was kind of like it was an area of Animal Kingdom that no one really had interest in, and it had really no identity. Like it lost its identity. So I'm glad we're getting all this. Now, when it comes to Joe Rohde, he did come back to Imagineering, but as a consultant, position. And I think he's still going to consult, but on like a project like this or the project at DCA with Avatar, which in his heyday had, very much involvement with Avatar and Animal Kingdom and just Animal Kingdom in general. I think he'll still be advising, but he might dabble in a couple things, but he probably would not go back to what he once was. But the fact that he has eyes on this project, he has eyes on the Avatar project, and possibly working with James Cameron again, it gives me hope that our Avatar is going to be phenomenal. Because the one thing I will say, compared to Animal Kingdom, that we're going to have here on the West Coast, compared to Animal Kingdom, is seeing our Avatar at night.
Right. No, we will get the nighttime every night out here in DCA because we don't have that zoo element, right, with the animals and everything.
Right.
And that's very fascinating. And I'm also very curious because we've never seen another Pandora.
No.
And Walt Disney World is a very unique animal, no pun intended, right? A little animal joke in there.
Oh no,
but
definitely is. Yeah. Yep. No, you're 100%. You're right.
It's a unique animal, and so they have the blessing of size, but most Disney resorts don't, right? Whether it be California, Tokyo, a lot of these resorts have limitations. I mean, they all do compared to Disney World. So I'm very curious how they build a Pandora with limitation and how that turns out and how do they reimagine that, right? So it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure it'll be good. For me personally, I'm not so worried about Pandora in California just because of the James Cameron element. It's kind of like Universal when they build Nintendo stuff or Harry Potter stuff. They have that third party sort of watching over their shoulder, demanding that quality. James Cameron is a giant in Hollywood, and they're not going to want to make him mad. So I'm not so worried about the quality with the Pandora, but I am curious though how they're going to work in those transitions and how it's going to kind of fit into a space that Disney World never had to really consider.
100%. And actually, John Make It Rain actually has an interesting comment. Carousels are underappreciated, and I'm actually going to take his comment a step further because one of the things we see throughout, some of the parks, not all of them, but like Epic Universe, perfect example. Basically, the entire theme park is all e-ticket attractions, and you might have one or two like kiddie filler rides. And the carousel, which is kind of like a kiddie filler ride, they are very underestimated. The reason why I say that is because if you look, like I said, when you look at Epic, you have on all the e-ticket attractions at least a 2-hour wait. That's a given. And then there's not bare enough minimum. There's not enough bare minimum in between to kind of fill in the gaps. So people don't have the best experience at Epic Universe because of that reason. Now, on the opposite side, DCA, we have a content creator out here, good friend of me and OG, Hey Bricky. It's funny because at DCA, he calls a little corner of the park Carnival Corner because we have all like carnival rides and it's all like filler rides.
Yeah. And my thoughts on Pixar Pier. Like, I don't know. Like, for me, I'm not a huge fan of that area because of that reason. I feel like Disney could do better. Yeah, I'm not into it.
Really?
I if it was up to me, I would take it all out and make some sort of like Disney Sea quality, like Seaport or something. I don't like the carnival thing. It feels very regional park, sort of.
Well, so I definitely see what you're saying there, where it feels like a regional park and it feels like the old classic carnival rides. But for me, And again, I've only been to Disneyland once. Um, for me, that whole section, Disney California Adventure, I think is my favorite park in the entire United States
Really?
set. And I
Wow.
love
Whoa.
Pixar Pier. I know, and
Whoa.
I'm a Disney Worlder, and I think, and my wife agrees with me that I think the theming in DCA is amazing. I think you guys have it made out there. Now, is Pixar Pier full of e-ticket attractions? No. I would say Incredicoaster is definitely an e-ticket because every time I go out there, I'm now going to be like, I want to go on Incredicoaster. But like, you know, the Toy Story Mania is always a great experience, and that's not I don't want to call it a filler attraction, but it's not an e-ticket either. It's kind of maybe like a B ticket, maybe a C ticket.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe somewhere in there. But kids love that. Parents love watching kids on that, and so like I just love the theming in that corner. But you're right. I mean, like carnival rides, especially, there's such a flashback to a time gone by that really isn't here anymore. And I think for me, I also love the romance of like the carnival rides were what Walt and his kids were going to when he was inspired to make something better. So I think the flashback element is there because I'm a big old sentimental, you know, big softy guy. Seriously, I'd cry at the drop of a hat. But I just love it. I love DCA. It kind of breaks my heart that you're like, yeah, whatever.
Oh, I love DCA. Yeah, I love DCA.
Okay.
But the Pixar part, I'm like, I don't know. But here's the thing. I will say this. To Pixar Pier's credit, nighttime is gorgeous with the lights off the water. Beautiful, beautiful. But DCA is amazing. I mean, when you walk in and you have that Buena Vista Street with the 30s LA, and you got Cars Land, it's really cool, you know?
Stunning.
Yeah.
Cars Land. Oh my gosh, Cars Land. You guys haven't made with Cars Land. The neon show every night. Oh, come on.
Dude, it's fire.
It's fire. I'm excited for you guys though to get a version of that. That's gonna be sick over there.
I'm gonna be so disappointed. I'm gonna tell you right now that like when they announced the Piston Peak, I think is what I think it's called Piston Peak. When they announced Piston Peak, I told my wife, I was like, it's not gonna be the same. It's not going to be the neon in the street and like everything that you see in the movie, and it's going to be something else, and I'm not going to like it.
Wow.
I mean, that's a fair point.
I hope I'm wrong, but it's hard to beat that. It's hard to beat what y'all have.
It is, and that's a fair point because they kind of took it's interesting, right? They took two things in DCA. They took the Cars Land concept and they took Grizzly Peak, and they mushed them together and made Piston Peak, right? It's interesting. Will it succeed? I don't know. We'll see. Like now, aside from his personal issues, John Lasseter was a creative guy, very creative, genius, really, right?
Yeah.
He was heavily involved in the original Cars Land, so we'll kind of see how this one shakes out without his involvement, right? But Disney still has a lot of creative people, very capable people that can do this. So yeah, we'll see. I'm rooting for it though. I really hope it's A+ because I think that, you know, I think it would be so cool. And also I think it's really cool how it's going to like transform the Magic Kingdom because it's going to be a whole new, that's going to make the whole park feel different.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. The thing for me that'll be interesting will be the transition from like, because Frontierland and Liberty Square already have this weird like line between them. You basically are just like, you stumble right into the other one and you're like, oh wait, that was weird. And so I'm a little concerned about that transition, adding Piston Peak into that whole area, but I am excited for it. I want it to succeed. It's going to be really interesting to see if they can top the California experience. I mean,
yeah, see that's okay. It's interesting you say that because me and OG have done countless of videos. And the one thing that we're pretty consistent on that we think alike is I don't like the fact, like Galaxy's Edge is the perfect example of this. I don't like Walt Disney World and then Disneyland carbon and copy and paste. I don't like that. I do like the fact that you guys are getting a different version of Cars that's going to be totally unique to the Magic Kingdom. That's what I like about it. It might like you said, it might not be the greatest of walking down the street, seeing all the neon and kind of just, vibing out to, that period of time. But I will tell you, it's interesting because it gets people the reason to say, hey, you know what? We're on the West Coast here. We love our Cars land. We want to go fly to Florida to go experience Piston Peak, see what that story tells us about cars, and then vice versa. So I do like that aspect because I kind of feel Galaxy's Edge was, it's just, they came up with every excuse in the book. Oh, yeah, well, we're duplicating it on both coasts to make it, the same experience. But I will tell you, and I don't know if you get the vibes when you go into Hollywood studios, when you do, and you do your live stream, but I will tell you, I know a lot of Florida, residents that go to Walt Disney World and have a pass and all that. They are upset with all the amazing changes we're getting at Galaxy's Edge. Meanwhile, they're not getting any changes.
Well, okay. I'm gonna say this real quick because there is a Austin. I don't know if you're on Twitter, but if you are,
I am. Yeah.
Okay, so you've heard
I'm on everything.
you've heard the whole like be fair to Florida thing, right?
Yeah.
The whole be fair. Okay, so and I totally understand that. I think when it comes to this kind of thing, though, right, with the Galaxy's Edge, like what you're saying, Conductor, with the differences, how Disneyland is getting these sort of like the projection show and then like meet and greets and stuff that maybe Florida doesn't have. I think the reason why we're getting those and they're not in Florida is because we are more locals driven and we have a higher kind of churn rate with like attention span. And what I mean by that is like, we have a lot of locals going 3 and 4 times a week. So things get like kind of stale pretty quick, right? Where in Florida, where Austin is, like, I mean, they have such a huge tourist kind of demo there where you don't really have that dynamic where you have a family coming in for the first time in a decade. So I think that's the reason. So I think, I think they have to constantly like make it different out here because we have so many locals. I could be wrong. That's just my theory,
I definitely think that all weighs into it. But the other thing I think that factors into the differences that we see between Disneyland and Walt Disney World are, number one, like you said, you have the Disneyland is more of a local park. Walt Disney World is more of an international destination park, right? That's the first thing. But the second thing that really factors into it, and I believe this to my core, is that because y'all are located in the LA area, you are right there at the corporate headquarters. So Bob Iger, Josh D'Amaro are in and out of that park every single day.
Yep.
You have somebody who is an administrator who goes, that's kind of boring, change it, if they notice a problem in the park. Our parks, we don't have that.
No.
Our parks, we have the Walt Disney World administrators who go around and say stuff, but the big wig people, all the up here people, have to get on a jet, notify the resort, hey, by the way, have a room ready for me when I get there, which is about the earliest that they get notification. And then there's time between that jet time to be able to say, hey, just tomorrow's coming. What should we do? What should we do here? And then they're going to go and be like, oh, well, make sure you clean the pool and make sure you do this and blah, 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 blah. And so I'm really bad at the voices. I had a lot of coffee today because I didn't sleep well last night, and I wanted to make sure I was up for this, so I'm a little wound. But I really do. I think when you don't have that day-to-day interaction with the higher-ups, there instantly becomes a communication challenge in that distance. And while we can do things like this, which are great, where you guys are in California, I'm in Florida, it's late here, it's not so late there, we can have these great discussions and talk about theory and all the stuff that goes into this. There is something for, the boss isn't here, so don't worry about it.
That's a great point.
That's where we weigh into it. The other thing that I just thought of was, like, the other day I saw that Pedro Pascal was in Disneyland doing a Mandalorian meet and greet.
Yeah, he was
dressed as the Mandalorian. We don't get that in California because Pedro Pascal lives in LA.
Right.
So he can hop into Disneyland for the day, toss on the costume, and be like, "Yeah, I'll do a meet and greet. That's fine," and then do the thing, and then be like home for dinner. He doesn't need to travel across the country.
Sure.
So
No.
that's another factor that we have going against us. Is like we get generic Mandalorian thespian guy who's trying to get his first acting gig instead of Pedro Pascal.
No, 100%, Austin. You're 1,000% correct on that. And it's interesting that you brought that up. And if you guys want to talk about that for just a second, because that whole thing was very controversial. I don't know if you guys saw like all the.
Was it?
Yeah, it was very controversial. Like a lot of people were complaining, saying it wasn't really authentic because the people that were surprised were content creators. And I'm like, okay, first of all, a lot of the people in that crowd, like I didn't recognize a lot of them, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
Like, and it was a really I think it was a good mix of creators that like haven't been seen before. So I was like, this is pretty cool, actually. Like Disney showcasing some creators that, like, you know what, a lot of people might not be aware of. I mean, I'm in this space like crazy because I do a YouTube channel and like that's all we do is talk about this stuff. And if I don't know who they are, like, so it was kind of cool to me that they brought like maybe some eyeballs to these creators. I thought it was really awesome. And I don't know, but yeah, Austin, there was a lot of like weirdness with that whole thing. Like people were unhappy that it wasn't like just regular guests. I'm like, well, I don't know.
Here's the thing, okay? Number one, I think when Disney decides to pull in creators, the very first thing is you cannot throw a stone in a Disney park without hitting a Disney creator. Okay.
True.
We are everywhere. All right. There's clubs, there's jackets, everybody's happy. It's a thing. Okay. The biggest thing about this is that, my mom has a phrase that I always hated growing up, but I now firmly believe deep to my core, and that's rising waters raise all ships. Okay. And my belief in that, and I think it applies to the Universal Disney comparison because I don't actually believe they're competitors, but I also think the same thing when it comes to creators. When something new comes out and something happens in the Disney world, the very first thing we all do is we all jump in and we all are like, I got to be the first person to do this. And the reality is that the fan base of Disney people really love the fan base of Disney people really love Disney. And so if OG55 goes and makes a video about something, they're going to go watch his video. And then if Tim Tracker makes a video about something, they're going to go watch his video. If ThemePark Conductor makes something, they're going to go watch his video because they're excited about the thing. And I think a lot of creators get into this competitive, oh, I'm so much better than so-and-so and blah, blah, blah. And I just don't think it's really like that. But I think that Disney recognizes that it's not like that. And I think Disney recognizes, okay, well, Pedro Pascal is going to be in our park. We want someone who is inherently loves Disney, who is going to be good on camera, who also understands that, like, okay, if we don't get it in the first shot, we might have to do this again because it is ultimately a promo take. And also, Pedro Pascal doesn't have to worry that, oh, the random guest that we pulled in just happens to be Becky the Pedro fan who has a poster of Pedro on her wall and Pedro Pascal sheets and a pillowcase that she sleeps up next to every night, and it turns into a thing. And so I think it's a great way for Disney to build this co-relationship with creators. I mean, we all dream of getting the email saying, hey, you've been invited to a Disney event. That sounds great. I'd love that any day now.
Sure.
But I also think then everybody gets this camaraderie and we get to see the stuff, and I think it's great. I understand fans wanting to be there themselves. I get that. But like, a little love goes around for everybody and everybody gets something out of it.
No, I completely agree, Austin. And with the content creation thing, there is so much, and I'm going to keep it completely real here, but there is so much of that, what you were talking about, where there is that jealousy and that competitiveness, right? And it's so unnecessary. We all work in this space, and there's room for everybody. Yep. Let's celebrate everybody. Let's bring everybody up. Let's promote all of us, each other, and it's as a community we will thrive. I never understood there's some like creators that won't like mention other channels because they're afraid that it's like gonna, you know, take away from their thing, or like even film creators I follow, like they will say like I was watching another video from another creator. They won't mention the creator's name. Like it is like the film side stuff too. It's like, why are we doing that? Like, why don't you show some love? We all kind of like on this Venn diagram of like this fandom nerd space. We all sort of share the same thing, and it's like there's plenty of room to go around for everybody, right? But you're right. There is so much competitiveness, and it's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of ugly in a way, right? I don't like that. I like when we all kind of just celebrate everybody, dude, and just have a good time, right?
There are some creators that I have come across, and because it's a negative situation, I'm not going to mention their names because I don't want to drag anybody.
Absolutely.
But there are some creators that have come across that are big channels that they just complain, and they drag other channels, and well, we were doing it first, and and you're like, look, you know, at the end of the day, we're all here for a love of a product. We're all here for a love of a thing, and we all love doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
That's the goal. That's the point. The point is to have fun and you know, yeah, we want to make some money doing this, and we want to make this our job, and that's great. But like ultimately, it's not about us. If somebody tunes into my channel, Magic and the Murphys, and watches my content, they're not watching my content for me. They're watching my content because I'm covering Disney stuff and they like how I do that. It's not about me, the creator. It's about Disney. It's about your love of Disney Cruise Line or Disney Parks or Universal, or, you know, whatever your thing is. Boats. You know, I follow a bunch of boat channels and airplane channels and stuff like that. I love the stuff. But it's not about the creator, it's about the thing and the relationship that you build with that creator. That's
well said, Austin. And that's where like you understand that. And that's I think that's the right mindset to have, right? Where like we are just like we're the conduit into like this thing that we love. And then I think a lot of creators, when they get maybe too big or whatever, and it becomes about them. And I think that's sort of where it becomes like the beginning of the end and the downfall. Yep. But people really do go on these Disney YouTube channels because they have a love for Disney, right? Or theme parks. And you're the way in which they can experience that, right? And so you understand that. And that's exactly the mindset that I think a creator should have, because that's really what it is, you know? So what do you think, Conductor?
I think...
Oh, go ahead, Austin. Sorry.
Sorry. No.
My
Austin,
last thought, and then I'll shut up finally.
No worries.
But, the last thought that I had there is, like, you know, especially as the economy continues to take a downturn, as prices continue to rise, and accessibility related to these parks becomes a narrower and narrower field. You know, my wife and I actively talk about all the time about how lucky we are to be able to be in this space, to be in the Orlando area, to be able to make this content and be able to connect with the people that we do. And I think, you know, we have a set of fans who are in the Philippines. Shout out to Jamie and EJ. They're sisters who are in the Philippines, and they absolutely love Disney. They love doing Disney. They love seeing Disney content. They love the parks, and they dream of coming to Walt Disney World someday. But right now, that's really not in the cards for them. And so every single Saturday at 9 a.m., I get to see them on my podcast. We text throughout the week. We get Instagram messages back and forth. And so, you know, my wife and I hold this responsibility very near and dear to our hearts, that, like, not everybody can go. Not everybody can afford to go to Disney. And that's part of the deal. It's just how Disney has to make their money. But the benefit of being able to walk along with someone as they get to experience it through our content is just so awesome that I hold that really, really important to me.
Well, see, it's interesting you guys say that, because I kind of feel that myself. And one of the things I look at with all of the content creators that cover Disney, that cover Universal, that cover theme park events, is that I kind of notice, it's weird. I kind of notice on a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of us that do this, is the uniqueness we have. because
Mm-hmm.
you know, to be fair, you know, the bigger content creators like David from Fresh Bake, Tim Tracker, Mondo from Five Fires, Alicia Stella, and so on, so on, so on. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
were once where we were, and to be
Mm-hmm.
fair, and they've earned what they got. But my thing
Oh
is,
yeah.
like for my channel, if you know my audience has seen my videos and content, you know, I try to make the best content I can, but I don't, for me, I kind of like doing it where I film it. I do very little editing, if any at all, and I put it out there. The reason why
Mm-hmm.
I kind of choose that angle is it's telling a story that basically this is how I film. This is footage, you know, unedited, raw, and you're seeing it as
Mm-hmm.
I saw it. You know, there's no fancy lighting, there's no fancy mic work, there's no fancy inputs, there's no fancy like noise makers in the background, none of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I kind of feel with this space, since there's so many of us, there should be like some type of niche that makes
Mm-hmm.
us unique for our own channel. And I kind of feel
Yeah.
that. And not everyone is going to follow that philosophy, but one of the things that also I kind of feel is, you know, for some of us that are smaller channels, if we capture like lightning in a bottle, like I did a couple weeks ago about the cocoa construction, I
Mm-hmm.
had the big content creators, I had content creators I've never even heard of contacting me on X, contact me on X or on Instagram saying, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
wow, you got an amazing shot." And I love that. And that's why I
Yeah.
love being at the parks for special events. I'm going to love D23 to hang out with all these people and just, you know, interact with them. I love that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't like being spiteful. That's not who I am. That's not what I like doing. I
I
don't
think
like doing that.
the other thing for me is like, you know, I've met a lot of the big channels here in
Sure.
Orlando, especially, and there's nothing nicer than like, because we started as consumers of content before we started our channel, right? We started by enjoying Disney content, seeing Disney content, and then going, hey, I'd like to do that.
Sure.
And so while we were consuming content, we really enjoyed some of these channels that we were like, yeah, these are big name channels. And then you come to Walt Disney World and you're making content and you get to meet them, and there is nothing more soothing to the soul than finding out that the person you see on screen really is the person you see on screen.
Yeah,
The opposite is also true.
it is.
Where, you know, if you find out you know, that somebody you really truly love is not as genuine as they appear to be on social media, then it just falls apart. And I think, like, you know, that authenticity is something that I really enjoy in your channel and OG's channel, and I strive for in my channel even.
Oh yeah.
And so I think it's kind of great.
Yeah, and to be fair, you know, like a lot of us that do in-park vlogging or live stream like you do at the Florida parks out there is I on every single live stream, especially if it's on my channel or it's on OG's channel or someone else's channel, I always encourage people, no matter what, I always encourage people to come up and say hello. I
Mm-hmm.
think
Oh yeah.
I think it's kind of I don't know. Maybe there's been some of us that have been a little snippy in the past, so people are resilient to do so. It could be that they don't want to interrupt because they see us
I,
filming. But
I think
and
that's
all
the bigger thing, is a lot of
yeah,
people just don't want to interrupt. They don't want to ruin what you're doing,
oh
and
sure.
it
But
doesn't
see,
ruin anything for me.
my no, not me either. You know, if you're okay being on camera, if you want to come up to me and say hello,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I might interview you for a second and say, hey, you know,
Yeah.
how you enjoying Disneyland? What
Mm-hmm.
have you done so far? You know, and include that in the vlog. And I like that.
Yeah.
If you're willing, you know, as someone that supports Theme Park Conductor or Orange Grove 55 or Magic and the Murphys, and you say, hey, I want to be on camera and you know tell the audience how I'm doing and what I'm doing. Hey, by all means, I enjoy that. I just think some of the bigger channels are like, no, leave me alone. I'm doing my own thing. Leave me alone. It's like, I kind of feel when you're at that scale and you're at that level and you start doing that, I hate to say that, it ruins it for all of us and makes us all look snarky and snooty. I don't like it.
Well, I think you also have to lift other. You gotta reach up and you gotta lift up at the same time. And so, if there are channels that are, I am a small channel. We only have 1,300 people subscribed. We're looking for more. So if anybody's bored, head that way. But hashtag shameless plug. But like at the same time, even channels that are smaller than me, if they ask and say, hey, would you mind doing X, Y, or Z? Or hey, do you have any advice? Or hey, do you have thoughts? Yeah, absolutely. And the same goes the other way. You gotta help people. That's ultimately the point.
No, 100%.
Absolutely. Now, real quick, I do apologize. I left for a second. A bug landed in my coffee.
Oh,
and I didn't know that until I took a sip of it. Pretty gross, guys. Pretty disgusting, dude. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go and brush my teeth again. That's disgusting. So anyway, that's why I left. Full disclosure.
No, I support your leaving in that situation because I would have hurled. So,
because I'm over here talking, doing my thing, and I guess it landed in there and died. And I took a sip, and
oh god,
horrible.
Oh god, oh my gosh. So I want to ask you guys. I'm going to start with you, OG, this time.
Sure.
On this door coaster. Because there's been speculation, there's been talks, especially for the Florida vloggers, even us here on the West Coast, that this is going to be a state-of-the-art roller coaster. Disney has never done anything like this, but it's going to be more towards, geared towards the kiddos and not really adult-friendly. Like, obviously, adults are going to ride it, but, I mean, it's more... It's kind of like on that scale of Pterodon Flyers at Islands of Adventure, but maybe a little more upscaled than that. What do you think about Monsters Land in general with Monstropolis, this door coaster? What do you think about all this? Because you went to Hollywood Studios when you were out there a few years ago. And what do you think about the transformation?
Well, okay, a couple things, right? So they got rid of Muppet Vision, right? Yes. Which was Jim Henson's last piece of work, which I understand the emotional and the nostalgic connection to that 100%, right? At the same time, though, it is a very dated attraction. It's age for sure. So at some point, this thing was going to have to go. Eventually, they were going to have to replace Muppet Vision, right? So I think that Disney did the best they could and basically compromised with the diehard fans. Okay, we're gonna get rid of Muppet Vision, but you know what? We're gonna put the Muppets though over there in Rock and Roller Coaster. I think that was a super fair compromise, and I think it was a smart one, right? And honestly, this is the first like real Muppet ride that we have, because usually we only had like a show, like a 3D thing for the longest time. So I think on that end of the equation, absolutely brilliant. In terms of like Monsters Inc., I mean, it's a popular franchise. I'm hearing this particular franchise moves a lot of merch. Like all the younger, the younger women and stuff, they wear like the MU hats. You see them all the time, right? I mean, the merch, it's a merch machine, so it makes a lot of sense. In terms of the attraction itself being kind of like a mid-thrill, sort of like a, maybe like a slinky dog that hangs or something like that. I think that's kind of a smart move if they do that. You don't want this thing to be like a Velocicoaster with the IP they have here. You want as many families to be able to ride it as possible. Because anytime you have a coaster, there is that barrier to entry to some degree. Grandma, probably not going to ride it. Some people don't like, coasters in general. So, but you want to make it thrilling. So I think having that mid-tier thrill factor is a smart move. You don't want this thing to be too crazy. And if you had a more, for example, if you had more of an adult skewed franchise, like a Marvel or something, you could probably get away with a crazier ride. but you shouldn't do that with monsters. So I think they're making the right moves. So we'll see. What do you think, Austin? What's your thoughts on that, brother?
I 1,000% agree. I think if you're gonna have a ride that is thrill based, I look at Tron. Tron Light Cycle Run in Magic Kingdom is an amazing ride. It is thrilling as all get up. You're only on it for 90 seconds, but wow, does it go? But that experience is not entirely accessible to everybody, mainly because of the shape of the seats and how they did things and how fast it is and how and there's so many factors in that I think a mid thrill ride is still a good draw back into the back corner of this street. As you're looking on the screen here, you can see, like, one of the biggest challenges that they had with the Muppet Town Square was that, like, the the merch store that was right in the middle blocked the view of the back, and there really wasn't anything back there to pull people in. I think it was Mouselets that did a video about, like, here's the design and the civil engineering behind it. And I think that this is a great way to draw people all the way into the back of the ride. It increases ride capacity in the park. It's a good mid thrill level ride. So, like OG said, you can have grandma ride it with you if you want. My grandmother would never ride Tron, that's for sure. So I think it's a good draw. I'm excited to see, the themed land. The themed lands are really where Disney, I think, is putting a lot of their IP these days. We've seen, Frozen Land. We've got Zootopia Land over in Asia. We're now going to have Monsters Land here. We've got Pandora. We've got, Pixar Pier. We have these themed lands where people can actually walk into the world of the film, and I think Hollywood Studios is a great fit for that. Am I sad to see Muppets go? Yeah, I am.
Absolutely.
And I did a short talking about, like, I really think that Muppet Vision 3D would be great for the Vision Pro or the Oculus or something like that, where people
That
can
would be cool.
view it and enjoy it at home. But, like, Muppet Vision as a topic, even, 3D stuff is old. That is 30 years old at this point. It was cutting edge 30 years ago. It's not anymore. Versus, now we have, like, even Carousel Progress. In Carousel Progress, they put the virtual reality goggles on. It's like, oh yeah, we have those now. Like, that's a thing that happened. And so, like, I think the progress here is a good one, and I'm excited to see the change.
And the other thing too that I'm very, it's interesting too with um, with this change, and even other changes across, like, these parks, is that Disney's picking franchises that aren't necessarily like Monsters definitely moves merchandise, but it's not like super relevant right now. Like the last movie was like, when was that? Like 2014, Monsters University. I mean, it's been a long time, right?
I don't know. I'll look it up real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, I think it was like 2014. We're looking at, like, what, 12 years ago or something like that. And then you have 2013, so even longer. So you have a franchise that hasn't released a movie since 2013. I mean, they had the show for a little bit, I think, on Disney Plus, but and then even with Indiana Jones, right? Like, Dial of Destiny didn't do that great, right? But I like the fact that Disney isn't letting, like, box office and, like, that kind of thing, like, rule the roost. I like the fact that they're willing to do these projects, even though Monsters hasn't had a new movie in a long time, even though Indiana Jones hasn't had a big hit, for a while or whatever, or even though Tron has never been a big hit, right, culturally, right? But they're still willing to build these experiences, So I think that's fantastic. I love that. And I hope they continue to do that, because I think that's important. You don't always want to chase the box office. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes it's good to kind of go outside of that a little bit, right? I mean, we see that with Universal Hollywood. Waterworld was not a financial hit at all in theaters. Huge flop. But that show is like the best stunt show. I love that show. And it's been around for, what, 30 years or more? It's crazy. So
yeah, no, 100%. I couldn't agree more. I think I'm more excited for Monsters, because I kind of feel like it's a land that can cater to everybody. It's not specific, age based. Like, for example, Dark Universe at Epic Universe. That is very, or focus oriented on an age group. It's not really for kids, but kids go in there. But it's not really for kids, if that makes sense. Monsters, I think everyone would have a great time. And I'm going to tell you what, that Harryhausen's restaurant.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now, I'm I'm going to make a reservation.
Yeah, I think I'll be there. I don't know if y'all can tell, but I am a fan of the food. So.
I love it. I love it.
Oh gosh, no, but you're not wrong though. I think it was a good move. Do I think personally? Do I think personally it's the coaster is going to be awesome? I would hope so, but I don't know. It looks a little kiddish to me. Do you guys feel that, or is it too early to tell?
I think it's too early to tell still with the renderings that we've seen. But I also think it doesn't need to be thrilling to be great.
No.
I mean, a lot of the Disney classic rides are far from thrilling, but they are great. And so, the classic ride, Pirates of the Caribbean is not a thrilling ride. You don't even have to buckle up for it, but it's great and you remember it. And every time you come, you're like, hey, we have to go. And I think, the same can be true for a newer IP than something that came out in 1955. But, I don't think that we have to hang our entire hat on that. And I think it'll be interesting to see how they progress. I think it's also going to be interesting to see, like, the actors who performed in this franchise, like you said, they haven't released a movie since 2013. They're getting older. The chances of future franchises or future spin-offs of this or even Indiana Jones are pretty slim, unless we do the James Bond thing where we're gonna start swapping everybody out, which is Indy could do that pretty straightforward. I will be interested to see, because Disney's putting a lot of these older IPs into the parks. How are they gonna age and test and live up to that test of time the way that Muppets did? Muppets didn't live past 30 years. Now, granted, that's a good run, but like for a theme park. But how's that going to happen with Indiana and Monsters? I don't know.
That's true.
We'll see. Yeah, it's a good question.
Because Harrison Ford said himself, he doesn't want anyone else playing that character. It's over when he clocks out at the end of the day forever. That's it. No more Indiana Jones. I'm like,
let's not talk about that right now.
I know, right? Exactly. Exactly.
Harrison Ford is precious. He's my Betty White. Okay, leave him alone.
I love Harrison Ford. Are you kidding me?
He's amazing. God. No, he is an absolute treasure. I love that man. But here's the thing, and this is where we get into some crazy territory, right? Because 20 years ago, when an actor or actress passes away, that was it. That was it, right?
Yeah.
With new technology, though, with AI, I mean, does Harrison sign off his likeness and his voice for future content? I mean, the AI stuff has gotten so believable. In 20 years, you could more than likely do an AI Harrison. Now, would people be accepting of that? I don't know. That's a whole other can of worms. But I mean, that's a whole other part of the equation, I think. Like, do we do that? Or do you recast and you go against Harrison's wishes? So it's a tough call to make. Or do you let the franchise die because, you don't want to do either one? I don't know. It's tough.
I don't think the franchise dying is an option that Disney counts in their book. But
oh, hell no. No, God, no. So the next, all these videos that we're reviewing are all from BioReconstruct. So I want to give a big shout out to him, because how he does it, I don't know. I will never know. But man, I love his updates. I love his updates, and how he gets away with it, I'll never know, but I don't care because they're awesome. So, I want to ask you fellas, because one of the things we're looking at with with Piston Peak, Villains Land. Obviously, the Magic Kingdom is going to be celebrating its 60th Diamond Celebration in 2031.
Mm-hmm.
And we all expect, or at least most of us suspect, that Piston Peak will probably be done by maybe 2028, maybe 2029. Do you think that they would have Villains Land ready by 2031 for the Diamond Celebration, or do you think that's far fetched?
Oh, I don't think it's far fetched at all. I think it'll be. I mean, look, they've already ground cleared, right? That whole back area behind Big Thunder is all Villains Land, right? I mean, they're working on it, and it's what 2026. I mean, these lands usually take anywhere between 3 and 4 years, typically. So even if, yeah, I mean, it should be done by like 2031, I would imagine. So I mean, we might have a few delays, but not that many.
Yeah, I would hope that they're going to be ready by 2031. I mean, that it's a big area. Don't get me wrong; it is a massive upgrade to the park. It is a huge. I mean, look at how massive. I can't even describe to you the scale of how big this is. Right, like that. Just from here, this view you can see here is like it's almost the size of probably two lands. It's definitely at least Adventureland and Frontierland expanded even further. And so like it's a lot to do, but I also think, when you've got the amount of, cash flow that Disney has, you can afford to invest in it and urge the project along. So, yeah, I hope it's ready by 2030.
Yeah. Well, okay, so me and OG got the very special opportunity to celebrate the Diamond Celebration. We didn't know each other at the time, but just experiencing the Diamond Celebration at Disneyland, and I have to tell you, anyone that went to that year-long event, it was one of the best events Disney has ever put on for an anniversary, by far, hands down. And my question is, because a lot of people did not care for the 50th at Magic Kingdom, there was a lot of issues with that. First of all, painting the castle that Pepto-Bismol color. Not a lot of people like that. And then there were some other things that Disney did. So do you both feel like the Diamond Celebration is really just going to go out with a bang, or you think there's going to be some budget cuts, or
I think the Disney World 50th was kind of, it just unfortunately fell at a really bad time for the company.
It did.
We had Bob Chapek in there, which, look, I'm not a Bob Chapek hater. I do believe Bob is actually a really smart businessman. If you put that man as CEO of FedEx or Staples or any other business, Pepsi, Coke, whatever, he would absolutely crush it. But for a company like Disney, he just wasn't a good fit, right? So I'm not going to demonize the guy, but he just wasn't a good fit. But I think with having him around and then having the pandemic around and all the changes and turmoil with that, and we were in transition with new leadership, the 50th just kind of, it took a beating. And it wasn't just the 50th, it was the Epcot remodel, it was Avengers Campus. So the 60th for Disney World is not going to have those same problems. So I do believe it will be better. I do believe it will be a much better celebration than what we got with the 50th. The 50th was just, unfortunately, at a time when it was a perfect storm of just a lot of bad stuff, unfortunately. So
Sure. No, absolutely. And to be honest with you, I kind of feel if Magic Kingdom took a taste of what the 60th was like for Disneyland, oh my God, it's going to be the most magical year at the Magic Kingdom by far. Because I tell you what, being that I went to the Magic Kingdom, all the parks out there for my first time, I did not want to leave. I felt so immersed, so enclosed, and I was like in the middle of a fairy tale, and it was awesome. And I'm like, all they're doing is repainting the castle back to normal, and I felt like I never wanted to leave. I never wanted to come back to California. I said, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna make permanent residency out here.
Well, and you considered it too, which is awesome, dude. You know,
I do. Hopefully in about 5 years. That's what my goal is. By then, you know, pretty much everything will be open by then. I would hope, but then again, you know, you know as well as I do, Magic and the Murphys. Weather does not tell you when it's coming. It just hits when it hits, and that's it.
No, it's going to be a lifestyle change for sure. So, go ahead, Austin. I'm sorry, brother.
No, you're good. I mean, I moved here from Ohio, so like the difference between the Ohio winter and Florida is drastic. So the weather is definitely the biggest thing that you have to adjust to when you move down here.
By far.
At number one, I highly recommend moving to Orlando anytime you can. So yes, I would recommend doing it. Hit me up and we'll talk about the details.
Definitely.
But I think the biggest thing with the 60th this time around, first off, OG, I think it's hilarious that you brought up the thing about Bob Chapek, because I was going to say the exact same thing, that like, you know, I think Bob did great with things like a traditional company would be looking at bottom lines, right?
Right.
They always look at the spreadsheet. And I think Disney is one of the only companies in the world, not only, but like one of the biggest examples of why you should not do that. And I don't think Bob was raised in that type of leadership model. And I agree. I'll just leave it at that. And because I do tend to go on some Bob rants, so I'll just be nice and move on. But I do think that with Josh D'Amaro now taking over and us now being in Tomorrowland, I think we are looking at, this is going to be the first big event that he's going to preside over, and I think he's going to pull out all the stops.
So let me ask you this, because you made a very interesting argument earlier about how you guys kind of fall a little short, being that, you know, the main headquarters is out here in California. So all the big wigs like Iger, Tomorrow, you know, a lot of the head Imagineers are constantly at Disneyland, looking at, you know, how to improve, and for them to go over to Walt Disney World, it's a plane flight. It's a lot of planning, a lot of scheduling, compared to Disneyland, where they could just show up one day. Obviously, they let, you know, cast members and you know, higher officials at Disneyland let them know that they're coming, but it's a different situation. Do you kind of feel that D'Amaro being the CEO, that might change? The only reason I asked that question is because D'Amaro is a parks guy. He loves being in the parks. He loves interacting with the cast members. He loves talking to people. And he's not one of those, you know, corporate suit types where he has to have an army of bodyguards around him and you can't even get close to him.
Well, go ahead,
Austin. No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say one thing real quick. I was going to say one thing that surprises me about D'Amaro actually is he is a parks guy, but I feel like every time he's interviewed or like the earnings call or whatever,
sure,
he talks more about streaming and gaming, which is fascinating. Like it's weird because he was a parks guy, and I think the community was like, cool, we got a parks guy, but I don't see, I feel his focus is not really, like, we're going to get park stuff. There's no doubt. I don't want to, like, you know, say we're not going to get park stuff, but I feel like D'Amaro sees growth in these other areas, and I think that's going to be like more of the priority, in my opinion, just from what I'm hearing from him and how he focuses on like the Epic Games and the Fortnite and the streaming Disney Plus and transforming that platform. I don't know. I feel like he's kind of, you know, prioritizing that stuff. What say you, Austin?
I think, well, first to answer John's question, no, I have not seen Josh in Walt Disney World yet. But to be fair, once you're a local, it kind of shifts from doing all day park visits to like, we stop in for a couple hours kind of deal. Oh, hey, 100%. I know them. But there are a couple of thoughts on this. Number one, originally, I think it was during Bob Chapek's era. It was started by Bob Iger, and then I think Bob Chapek was taking it over. Originally, they were going to move the corporate headquarters here to Florida for tax purposes, because we're a better tax state than California is. Now, politics got in the way because, of course, politics get in the way, and the Reedy Creek district, all that stuff, and Governor DeSantis, and there was a whole thing, and everything happened. I think while all that stuff occurred, Bob Iger put the brakes on everything and said, "Nope, we're not moving. We're staying in California." However, I think that the dust has kind of settled there, and I think depending on what the results of the next election are, I do think that there is a potential for that to come back on the table, because from a fiscal standpoint, it would make a lot of sense and it would save the company a lot of money. That's the first thing. And I think if they move to Florida, I think everything's going to kind of flip that pancake. I think, we'll start seeing the opposite be true for the same reasons that I just said, where corporate's out there and now corporate will be out here. The other corner of that I think changes things, I agree with OG55 that I think Josh D'Amaro is pulling away from the parks a little bit. And I think that's kind of a natural reaction because he's stepping into a leadership role where he is known as the parks guy. He is known for, he's the parks guy. He's going to save our parks. He's going to do this, that, and the other. But he, from a corporate perspective, needs to be able to step out and say, no, I'm more than just a parks guy. Look at all the stuff I can do. And I do think he's leaning into Epic Games and streaming, and he made some comment about an end-all be-all app the other day and all that kind of stuff. Oh, my gimbal was having issues. So I think his natural inclination is to kind of pull out of that and go, oh, I'm not just a parks guy. Look at all this other stuff I can do. However, I do think he's still a parks guy at heart. It's where he got his come up. It's where he came up. And I think that really is going to carry into the parks. At least I hope it is. We're also going through leadership changes here in Walt Disney World because we've got the president and CEO of Walt Disney World is retiring, and so they've got a new one coming in, and so all of these changes all together, Disney's not a small machine. It's a big, big, big boat. And I think it takes time to redirect and get back on track. But
well, okay, so it's very interesting you say that, because I do 100% agree with you that this is a trial period for Josh. Just because he is in the position now does not mean if he doesn't start making the right moves. What I mean by that is not just focusing on the parks, but focusing on the whole pie instead of a fraction of it. People are going to say, well, this guy only cares about the parks, the hell with everything else. And that's not the case. I think right now he's trying to focus on the Epic Games, on the studios, on the streaming to show people, hey, I'm a parks guy, but I can handle everything that the CEO leadership has to offer. You know what I mean? I think that's where he's coming from. That's where he has to prove himself. And I think he could do it. I honestly have faith in him. He could do it. Now, go ahead.
The other thing is he has over his head that they did fire Chapek. He knows that. He knows that. So they kept Chapek for about a year, and then they were like, "Yeah, you're gone." And I think Josh has that hanging over his head, so it'll be interesting this time around.
Well, it's real funny you also mentioned that, because if you look at it,
that's my lovely wife, by the way. That's Sarah.
Oh,
sorry.
Very nice to see Sarah.
Pretty girl showed up on screen, and I was like, "Hey, that's my wife."
Absolutely.
Big shout out to Sarah.
Oh yeah.
And everybody, make sure you subscribe to Magic and the Murphys.
Please do so.
Appreciate that.
Let's get him to 2,000 subscribers. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. I will say this though, I do find it a little funny that Iger's contract does not end until December 31st, 2026. And what I find funny is a couple months after that would be the 1 year that Josh has been in office or running the company. So I think there was a reason behind that because, like you said, God forbid things go left field. They might call Bob back and say, hey, we need you to come back.
Well, that would be a disaster if they did that. That would be 2 times in a row. I don't know.
Bad.
Yeah.
That would be bad.
It would
but
be so
then,
bad.
But then again, you have to think that that's an option in the back of their mind, whether they want to admit it or not.
It's always an option. Yeah, it's always an option. I mean, you have to be able to pull that escape hatch when you need it. I don't think it's likely though.
No, I don't either.
Yeah, I don't think tomorrow. I don't think he's gonna. I think he knows how to run the ship better, and he's gonna make mistakes. Everyone does. He's not gonna be perfect, but I think he'll do a good enough job to prevent that. In my opinion, I mean, unless there's like some crazy surprise that happens or something, but I don't think so. I think he'll be okay. I mean, he's navigated some crazy stuff already. I mean, we had the Jimmy Kimmel drama just a couple months ago. We had all kinds of drama already, and he's been doing a pretty good job, right?
Yeah,
I
think he's been doing great. But Bob Iger is also the safety net and parachute and seatbelt and run home to daddy of the Disney company. Bob's been in charge for a long time, and I think he's done a great job. I think Bob has done a great job, and he is the quintessential definition of what is the modern Disney company. I mean, without him, we wouldn't have Star Wars, we wouldn't have Marvel, we wouldn't have Pixar, and these are major brands. But I also think that from a board perspective, knowing that we can still call Bob is always going to help quell any of the hostile takeover bids that always occur, or someone say, well, whoever this new guy is isn't ready for it, and I'm ready to do it, and we're going to take over. And I think the Bob Iger effect helps smooth out some of this transition, and I think that's more what the contract's about. I don't think they would fire Josh the way that they did Bob Chapek just for the fact that they already did it once, but I do think it's still going to be ticking around in the back of Josh's head.
Yeah. You don't want to get that Sunday evening call, that.
Mm-hmm. Bob Iger shows up at your door with a package. You're like,
ooh. I'm telling you, Austin, I was shocked when that happened, man. I was at a Friendsgiving that night, and I'm just like, I'm eating away, talking with friends, and I'm going through my phone, and all these people on Twitter were saying Chapek out, Bob Iger back, effective immediately. I was like, there's no way this is real. And then it was Variety,
and I was so excited.
Dude, it was crazy.
I was at work because I'm a forklift driver at Costco. So I start because I have my phone on vibrate. Obviously, I'm not going to have it on the ringer, and I wear an Apple Watch, right? So I'm sitting there driving the forklift, and my Apple Watch just kept vibrating like crazy. I'm like, what the hell? Did I leave an alarm on? And no, it was text message after social media post after. I'm like, what in the is going on right now? And I had to pull over, get off my lift, and look at my phone. All I see, like, probably, 60 messages within 2 minutes. Bob Iger has announced to come back, and Chapek is out. I'm like, holy Lord.
I'm telling you. I mean, it was crazy. It was a crazy time. It was a crazy time.
I had a very similar experience. I was a 911 operator at the time, and because that was my former life. And I was like on 911 with someone, and my watch is vibrating, and I'm like, okay, just be quiet. Just like someone's in an emergency, be quiet. And then afterwards, I looked at my watch, and I was like, ah! And it was crazy. So.
Oh my God!
It was one of those moments where, as a Disney fan, right? Like everyone's gonna remember where they were when that happened.
Oh yeah.
It was a crazy time. It was a crazy time, but it's good that, and actually Seymour Duck is in the chat. What's up, Seymour? Seymour and I, because Seymour is on my channel a lot. He has a show on my channel. We love Seymour Duck. But he does a lot of financial talk and all that, right? So we've dived into this a lot about the CEO succession, all this stuff, and the health of the company. And it seems like Disney is really pulling out of they're pulling out of the hole they were in a few years ago, and I think they're improving. And there's always going to be challenges and what have you, but I think they're on the mend. And honestly, Disney's doing a lot better than a lot of other companies right now. A lot of other studios, right? So I think we'll be fine.
Oh, by far. So that's something I'm hoping for Josh. You know what I mean? I'm hoping he does successful things, and it seems like he has. There's always when you take on a new position, especially a higher leadership position, not everything is going to be perfect. Not every decision is going to be the right decision. But as long as you have that balance of good and bad, more good than bad, but still you have that kind of balance, then people have faith in you. It's just with everything that happened, starting with Chapek and having Iyer come back, Josh has a big mountain to climb to overcome that.
He does. And Disney was very smart though in giving Dana Walden the power she has, right? So she's effectively running a lot of stuff, like all the studio stuff basically, right? And even the gaming stuff now. That's her division. And I think they essentially made a co-CEO position without it really being officially a co-CEO position. But she's right there. She's up there. So I think that was really, really smart. And it kind of gives Josh a little bit of a safety net too, because you have Dana now kind of right there. So yeah, I think we're going to be fine. And I think Dana's been a really smart businesswoman. I know she did a lot of great things over at Fox, which, even Rupert Murdoch, who's, pretty conservative, was praising her, and she's not conservative, right? And so he was like, yeah, she was great. And she's done some great stuff on the entertainment side with like Hulu and all that good stuff. So I think she's going to really be fantastic. So yeah, we'll see how it all shakes out though.
No, 100%. So the next topic I have, because I got 3 more videos after that, and then we're good for the night. But one of the things I want to ask you, Magic, is have you been on a Disney cruise yet?
Oh, I actually used to be a Disney Cruise Line cast member, so yes, I've been on
Okay.
a Disney cruise.
Okay.
I have been on several. I'm a currently at gold. I wish I was platinum. We're getting there, castaway member. And I am a Disney travel agent as well. So and I am a member of CLIA, Cruise Lines International Association. I am a certified cruise counselor for all cruise lines across the board. So I am quite the aficionado when it comes to the cruising. And honestly, Disney Cruise Line is my favorite Disney product.
Ooh, perfect. Well,
you heard it. Favorite.
You heard it, everybody. If you want to book your next Disney vacation on the cruise line, go DM Magic and the Murphys on social media, and he'll set that up for you. So some new rules has dropped, and I don't know if you read into it. Have you read into it? What they've dropped?
So, pretty much as soon as it happened, again, my phone was blowing up. So
okay, do you want to give us the rundown on what things have changed compared to what they used to be?
Yeah, so there are a handful of really changes. I think there's like 5 of them right now. The first one is going to be that the biggest change that most people are going to notice is going to be the change in carry-on alcohol. Disney shifted it from, let's see, it was 2 bottles of wine or champagne or 6 beers, which you could carry on at embarkation. It's now 1 bottle of wine or champagne or 6 beers, which you can bring on at embarkation. And the other part is that it used to be that you could replenish your fill at each of the ports. Now that's not the case. When you go to the port, you can get your fill, and then they will hold on to it for you until you disembark. So that's That's the first thing. The biggest benefit out of this is that the corkage fee has gone down. It was $29, it's now $20, which is convenient. This is not something that it didn't really affect me in my cruising experience, because typically when we go on board, I'm not a huge drinker anyway, so I usually just buy drinks on the ship because it's one less thing for me to carry and have to manage and all that stuff.
Sure.
But some people, this is a big deal for them, and I can completely understand that. One less bottle and you're not being able to refill, that's a big shift. But I think ultimately, Disney wants you to buy their alcohol. It's a big moneymaker for the cruise line. They want you to be able to buy the drinks and buy the merch and buy all the stuff, and if you're bringing your own on board, you're not buying as much from them. So,
well, no, you're absolutely right, Austin. It's kind of like the movie theaters, right? They don't want you to bring snacks into the theater because that cuts into their business. So I totally get that, right? And also, it's very easy on the cruise to sort of rack up a pretty hefty bill with this stuff because, charge it to the room, charge it to the room, charge it to the room, and at the end, you're like, whoa, before you know
how
it,
much
right?
did I spend? Yeah,
Exactly,
That
exactly.
tends
And
to happen with my wife Sarah in the Pandora shop. But yeah,
boy.
it's the deal with the alcohol.
it adds up. It adds up. So I can see why they do that for sure. And yeah, you're right. They want you to buy their alcohol, and you can't blame them. It's a business. They got to do what they got to do. So
No.
But I didn't even know that was really like a thing. Like I've only been on a Disney
Yeah.
cruise twice. I did the Wish and the Wonder, right?
Okay.
And now I did buy alcohol both times, but I didn't know people brought their own. I never knew that was even like a thing.
It is a cost saving measure that a lot of people will do, is a lot of cost saving, because I can bring my own alcohol and I can go to Costco and I can buy a bottle for $4 and bring it on board. But I always tell my clients, like, when you bring the alcohol on board, you still have to pay the corkage fee. So by the time you buy your cheap bottle of wine that you're saving up or that you have at home on Costco, you manage the getting it to the ship, getting it into the port, getting it to your room, and then pay the corkage fee. You now, in time, effort, and everything else, should have just bought the drink on board.
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, it becomes more of a headache, in my opinion. But some people still love it. Some people are like, this is my preferred beverage, and I want to have it when I'm on board because I can't get it on the ship. And if that's your thing, then this would be a big effect. So, I think it's 6 in one, half dozen the other. It doesn't really affect. Does the wording exclude kegs of beer?
Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately, it does.
Yeah, I don't think that's in the wording.
Yeah, just the 6 cans of beer are allowed on now. But I at the end of the day, I think it's the kind of shift that I would expect the company to have. I was shocked by the corkage fee coming down. That surprises me because I was expecting it to at least stay the same. But, I think they're trying to encourage people to, hey, look, we are taking away a bottle, but now we're not going to charge you as much for the one that you do bring on board. So
100%. And then the next thing, if you want to let us know, because I heard from a fellow friend, Hollow Gelato, he lives on Disney Cruise Lines. He loves Disney Cruise Lines, and he said his wife Abigail loves to decorate the door, but now there's a new stipulation with the door decoration. So if you want to go over that.
Yeah, so Disney's cracking down on the over-the-top stateroom door decorations. I think, door decorating has become kind of essential to the cruising experience, especially people who cruise frequently. And actually, I wrote this down before we started because I looked at my CLIA stuff. 89.7% of past cruisers always state that they want to go again. And the cruising industry has continually grown, with the exception of COVID, because COVID is an outlier. With the exception of COVID, the cruising industry has continually grown over the last 30 years. And it's expected to continue to grow. This coming year, we're expected to grow 4% over this into 26 by the end of 2026. And then last year, we actually grew by 7.5% across the industry. So more people are cruising than ever. And I think because more people are cruising than ever, more people are returning to cruise. And every time you return to cruise, your little collection of decor just grows and grows and grows. And I think
Sure.
eventually Disney's like, look, this is causing actual damage to our doors, to our hallways, to our signs. It becomes a fire hazard. It becomes a tripping hazard. We need to pull this back and reel this in. So that's ultimately what this is about. They are starting June 3rd. The decorations have to be magnetic only, which they should have been before, but they've kind of grown lax on that over the years. And they are strictly forbidden from extending into hallway walls or ceilings, so the area outside of the actual door frame. You cannot use adhesives, gel clings, or over the door organizers. And then violators will be facing a $100 fine per incident for damages.
Wow.
In addition, guests in concierge rooms on the Dream and the Fantasy cannot decorate at all because their doors are wooden. So, just a variety of things there. I think ultimately, these ships, Disney has some of the oldest ships in the fleet. The Magic and the Wonder are 28 years old now, 27, something like that.
Jeez.
And Disney maintains their ships way better than a lot of other cruise lines in the industry. They do really well with maintaining their ships. And so if we're going to continue to see these ships, John, did they ban pineapples? That's a different cruise line, John. That's a different. We'll talk about send me it. Check out my website, magicandthemurphys.com. We'll talk about the cruise lines that do pineapples if you're into that kind of thing. But I think at the end of the day, Disney wants to get the most out of their money. They want to extend the life of these cruise ships because the fleet is still expanding. We're looking at 13 cruise ships across the board by the time all these new ships that they've already announced come out. And so I think that, ultimately this was a decision to protect that investment and to make things safer for everybody, which I'm always on board with safer for everybody.
100%. And
Well,
the last.
and real quick, just to kind of expand upon what Austin was saying too, it's like I understand like the fandom is probably going to be unhappy with a lot of these changes with the door decorating, the alcohol stuff. I understand all that, but we also have to understand too that there's a reason. Like Disney's not just trying to be difficult. Like
Right.
They have to protect their investment, right? That you can't. When you have people using adhesives and tape and sticky stuff on these doors, that does damage to the door.
Yeah.
And Disney tries to maintain a really clean ship. They don't want to have a bunch of like sticky stuff that they can't get off. Right? It's kind of like the same thing with the parks. Like you can't even buy gum at a Disney park.
Nope.
For that reason. So this stuff, while it might be a hassle for a lot of fans, I mean, it at the end of the day, it creates a better experience, I think, for the guest overall. So, I'm all for it.
And you have to remember, I mean, these cruise ships are turning around in like a 3 or 4 hour period. You get off in the morning, the day you disembark, they have 3 or 4 hours to turn that room around, get it completely redressed, flipped from top to bottom, and ready for the next guest. In 3 to 4 hours, one whole door needing replaced is a big deal. You have to contact the carpenter. The carpenter's got to find a door somewhere in storage. They have to make sure that it's the right size. They have to get it to the right place. They got to take off the old one, put on the new one. And that's just one door. If this is happening even 10 times on a ship Disney size, you're talking about a significant hourly investment for not a very big team. So you have to factor those things in.
Well said.
You have to.
And Conductor, Spring Blossom Fairy says that you're the CEO of Warner Brothers. Is there something that you're not telling us?
I wish I was. I wish I was. Make Universal Hollywood a true theme park. You better believe it. I say bring all your production over. Don't even hesitate. I want to kind of go over a little bit of the selfie stick thing because that's the last thing, and then I'm going to show the dates when these rules are implemented.
There's actually 2 more things past the selfie thing that this article doesn't cover, but I'll cover them. Don't worry about it.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
So the selfie stick tripod rule, they're actually allowing selfie sticks now on board, which is kind of a shift, but they have to be they can only, how do I phrase this? They have to fold down to under 18 inches. So you can't bring like, this giant thing that you can hit people with or whatever. It has to be able to get down to compact. Anything larger has to stay in your stateroom and can only be used on land. This ultimately comes down to like, in the shows and stuff on board, you don't want to have a big old selfie stick up in the air, and it's a lightning rod on some of the ships if you're on the right deck. So keeping it within reason is always a good idea.
Well, and plus those things, not to cut you off, but plus those things are constantly moving with the ocean. And you have a big stick like that. I mean, if the ship does a maneuver and you slip, you can hurt somebody. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Hit a rogue wave and you're in trouble. I have a stick that I use only for cruise lines. I don't use it anywhere else. I only use it on the cruise ship, and I always take it so I can get the I extend it as far as I can and hold it out my balcony, and so I can get the actual side of the ship. And it's good to know that I need to now measure that before my next cruise. But there are 2 other updates for the Disney Adventure. The Disney Adventure is now rolling out a room service fee, which is something that none of the other ships in the fleet are going to have.
Wow.
Basically, due to the size of the ship, they're having trouble keeping up with orders for room service. So every other Disney ship, room service is complimentary. There is no delivery fee. You just the food items are complimentary. Any of the what I would call plussed up drink options. So if you order a can of Coke or you order a beer or something, you have to pay for those, and then you have the opportunity to tip on those items. Now, the Disney Adventure is going to introduce a $5 delivery fee plus an 18% gratuity on that fee. So it'll be $5.90 per order to room service orders. Now, breakfast orders and concierge guests are exempt from this, so it's just for the regular room service, the evening lunch, that kind of thing. I am staunchly against this. I think this is a nuisance fee at its finest, and I think I struggle with this one because first off, I'm not a huge fan of any policy that is only assigned per ship. I firmly believe that things should just be fleet wide.
Yep.
So with the exception of okay, the Dream and the Fantasy have wooden doors, so okay, you can't do that. You can't do anything on the wooden doors because they're special. Okay, fine. But this kind of delivery fee, at the end of the day, either improve the infrastructure or change the menu, change something. The delivery fee, I don't think it's a good. I don't think it's a good look. I don't think it's a good one.
Okay. Let me ask you this real quick, because the Disney Adventure, it's sailing out of Singapore, and the Adventure, how can I put this without not making sense? Is it run by Disney or is it run by the Oriental Land Company?
It's Disney.
The Adventure is Disney, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Now OLC, Oriental Land Company, is creating cruise ships, but they have yet to go online yet.
Yeah, okay. They have one coming out. I think it's, I don't know what year that is. I'd have to go look at DCL blog. Let me check it out.
Well, while you're checking that, the only reason I bring up something like that is because when you look at it's in that Asian market. So I wonder if there's different regulations and restrictions. That's why they're introducing it only on that Disney ship when you have all these other ships that don't include that.
Well, this is the biggest ship, right, Austin? This is the one that Chapek bought for pennies on the dollar. That was halfway done.
This is a Chapek decision all day long. That is interesting. Again, Bob was good at the bottom line. He saw an opportunity to buy a cruise ship for literally pennies on the dollar, and be able to turn a whole extra market. I think that was a smart and shrewd business decision. However, the downside of that being that this ship had to be retrofitted, it had to be redesigned, and it does not fit any of the established cohesion of the other ships.
And that's it. Yeah, and I think that, and the reason why I say that is because I think that plays into this issue with the room service and stuff like that, right? So we'll see.
Oh, definitely.
It's unfortunate though. I agree with you, Austin. I think it's a nuisance fee. I think that Disney should try to work their way around this somehow other way. Putting it on the guest, I don't think is the answer, but it is what it is.
No, I don't think so either.
The other thing about the adventure. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, please.
The other thing about the adventure is they did shift. This just happened this week too. They've updated their policy for Palo, which on the other cruise ships is an adults only experience. Palo is no longer adults only on the adventure. Kids ages 10 and up are now allowed to dine with the adults, which is another. This one I think is more culturally driven. Because of the regional family dynamics in that area, and how it is typical for families in the Singapore area they dine together. It is a family moment. So I think this is to accommodate that. But again, once we start getting into this ship has that policy and this ship has that policy, it becomes way more confusing for the guest, and I am not on board with that.
Yeah, no, real quick, I do have to go. My ride is here. I'm just kidding.
Hey, if that's your ride, I'm going in your carry-on, all right?
Let's go, Austin. Let's do it.
Oh, you guys crack me up. I love it.
The Oriental Land Coast ship is coming out in 2028, by the way.
Now that thing is going to be a beast. Knowing OLC, that thing is going to be crazy.
Well, it's supposed to be another Wish class ship. So we've got the Believe coming out next year, which will be a sister to the Wish, Treasure, Destiny, Believe, and then the Oriental Land Coast ship are all going to be Wish class ships. So they're all going to follow the same design, same layout. They'll just have different theming. So we'll have Believe by the end of the year next year, and then the Oriental Land ship. And then we get into the 3 brand new, we have no idea what they are ships, which I think they'll probably announce at D23 or somewhere along the line. I don't know.
Absolutely. Okay, well, let me ask you this before we jump to this video from BioReconstruct. Do you think it's a possibility, Austin? I'm just throwing it out there. Don't know if it's going to happen. But I can almost be certain that we're going to hear more details about the Disney Believe at D23 in a couple months. But do you think it'll be ready for its main voyage by next summer? Or do you think by the fall of 2027? Or you think it would be delayed? What are you hearing in the cruise line,
in the
social media forums?
In the social media section that I follow, usually one of my biggest sources, if anybody's curious, is Disney Cruise Line blog. Scott does a great job. His name's Scott Sanders. This is his baby. It is a wonderful, wonderful resource. And if you have not checked it out, go check it out. I'll put the website in the chat. But according to his blog, he is seeing that it will probably be in the late 2027 season. And his resources are vast and many. So if he says it's late 27, I will guarantee that it'll be somewhere in late 27. It might be a little earlier in the fourth quarter, though. I would imagine probably November-ish, maybe even October. Just so that they can, because Meyer Werft is really churning these ships out now. And I think that's probably where we're looking at. So
now I do want to give a big shout out to Swag Cotton, saying he or she, I'm not really sure. I don't want to assume, but I appreciate you, Swag, for supporting all of our channels. That's awesome. Love that. And I love your profile pic. You can't go wrong with Kermit. Come on.
Oh, heck no.
Kermit's look at
That's the truth.
Dude.
Come on.
Oh my gosh.
That is elite right there. That is an elite profile pic, Swag. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Crazy. So I want to ask you this. What do you think about, them getting rid of the Sinbad location and the Poseidon's Fury, and the speculation and rumors floating around on social media that we could have the first ever Pokemon land domestically.
Well, first of all, Pokemon is gonna,
Possibly.
yeah, Pokemon's gonna print money. Okay, I mean, you you put a Pikachu meet and greet out there, and that thing's gonna be just unbelievably popular. I think it's a great idea, honestly. I do mourn. I've never been there, but you've been there. You guys have been there, I'm sure. Well, I know Conductor has, and I'm sure Austin.
Not.
Oh, he has not. Okay.
Not. No.
Well,
okay. Let me caveat that. I have been to Universal one time in my entire life, and I went there like I was like a teenager, so it's been a long time.
Oh wow.
And I know I show it well. But I have actively been avoiding going to Universal since we moved here because I'm waiting on the Epic Universe annual pass to come out before I do it. I refuse to buy an annual pass because my biggest fear is like, okay, I'm going to buy an annual pass for the parks that exist now. And then the week after I do it, because my luck is that kind of thing, they'd announce the Epic Pass and there'd be no way to upgrade. And so I was like, no, I'm not. I'll just hold out until they announce it. Which at this rate will probably be like, I don't know, 2045 before.
That's true.
No, I was actually. It was funny that you mentioned that. I was actually on the phone with I don't know if he's still in the chat. Rob White. I was on the phone with him right before we actually started this live, and we were talking about how they have not pulled the trigger on those APs for Epic, and obviously there's capacity issues and all kinds of stuff for that. But it's crazy. But yeah, I think this is a smart move overall. Pokemon's going to print money. Sad to see Mythos go. It looked like a beautiful experience. The food element of Mythos doesn't really concern me or worry me too much. You can move the food anywhere, but the atmosphere and the vibe that restaurant offered with giant, bro. I mean, it looked amazing, dude. So, but one question to you guys, and I'm not like a big Pokemon guy. I'm kind of like, my generation was more like He-Man and Star Wars. So, Pokemon was a little bit after me. But like, what would the aesthetics look like for a Pokemon land? Because I get like all the little Pokemon characters, but like, what would it look like though walking around? Would it be like a tropical environment, like a One Piece thing, or how would that look exactly? I don't even know.
Well, I kind of feel it's kind of hard to say because this area kind of represents that mythic god type, aesthetic and theming.
Right.
So they would have to kind of dive deeper if they want to fit that aesthetic into the kind of mythical Pokemon, type of. But I'm with you. I'm not really into Pokemon. Even when it was popular back in the day when I was a kid, I didn't really get into it that much. So I don't know what direction they're going to go with this. But I do agree with you, though. If they brought Pokemon, it's going to print money all day long. It's going to happen. You see it all the time now with, because Costco and like Target and some of these other major retail chains, they'll drop once in a while. It's not consistent, but they'll drop like Pokemon packs. And I kid you not, we opened at 9 a.m., for executive members, and people are lined up outside the building at 6 a.m. because people go nuts over it. So obviously there's still interest in Pokemon. Universal Japan is building a Pokemon land. So again, I don't know too much to tell you for certain what they could build in there. But I'm telling you right now, whatever they build, if it's, at least halfway decent, it's going to print money. That's a given.
I mean, it's a huge franchise. I mean, some of these Pokemon cards, our friend Tommy, right? Doesn't Tommy collect Pokemon cards?
He collects them. He goes to card shows, sells them. So it's still there.
I mean, those things are worth a lot of money. You can retire on some of those cards, I
was about to say, I wish I never got rid of mine.
Oh, you imagine what gems you probably had. Oh my God.
You'd be living, man, if you still had those, Austin, you'd be living like Jay-Z or Orlando Jay-Z. You'd be living in a mansion.
I'd be living in Golden Oak, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, dude, Golden Oak. Oh, don't get me started, dude. I
Someday,
would
man, someday.
love
It's on my
to.
vision board. It's on my vision board.
Oh, I would
Absolutely.
love to. I would love to. But I can imagine the HOA on to own a home in there.
Oh yeah,
I can't
just
even imagine.
$50,000 a year, not a problem.
Oh yeah, yeah. Don't even
No big
sweat
deal.
it. That's like a drop in the bucket. Don't even worry
Yeah,
about it.
no big
Hey,
deal.
no biggie, right? No biggie.
Oh,
Hey,
we got it.
we have APP in the house. What's going on?
We
It's
do
happening.
APP.
Had a
Oh.
wonderful time the other night. APP. So glad I was
we did.
part of your live stream.
Absolutely. APP is awesome. Everybody, make sure you check APP out on YouTube and his co-host Tony O'Tower. Big shout out to both of them. They're really, really great people. So support them.
Absolutely. So I want to get to this. This is the last video we'll cover for the Orlando market before we jump across the pond to DCA and the Cocoa construction.
Okay.
So I want to ask you, Austin, straight up, what do you think about this coaster and them getting rid of the Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, replacing it with Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift? Obviously, they have a Fast and Furious ride, but it's not the same like we had out here, where ours was part of the studio tour. Theirs was just kind of like a standalone ride that sucked, from what I heard, and no one wanted to ride it. What do you think about this?
Look, I think Universal put a lot of pressure on themselves when they pulled Epic out of their pocket. Okay, when Epic Universe came out, it really, it's the first modern clean slate theme park that we've seen from a major park provider in years, right? And I think Epic really kind of put the pressure even on themselves to say, okay, what kind of empty spaces do we have that we need to be addressing? What kind of rides are just not performing where they need to be? And how can we level that up? And I think this is one of the times where they're doing that. Now, in my opinion, this is a humble opinion, but Fast and the Furious to me feels like the deadest of horses that we could possibly beat. I no offense to anyone in the fandom, and I think the first couple of movies were great, but when we hit Fast and the Furious 19, I was so done with the franchise that I was like, okay, I'm ready to move on.
Sure.
And so if this works for them and they're putting their every bushel in that basket, then good for them. I'm interested to see what it looks like, and when we get over there, we'll definitely ride it. So.
For sure.
We'll just have to see what happens.
Oh, no, 100%. OG, what's your...
God, I sound like a Bob.
Sorry. I leaned on my roadcaster. I am so sorry.
Dang, his roadcaster's going.
Was that a commentary about my commentary? Was that what you were doing there?
No. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That was crazy. I was replying to the chat and I leaned and hit the button and that was a mess. I do apologize. But I agree with Austin. In terms of Fast and Furious being like a dead franchise, I mean, kind of, it kind of is. I think it makes sense. I'm not familiar with the Universal Park in Orlando, right? Because I've never been there, but I think it makes sense in Hollywood because it's very much an LA kind of franchise, and I think having it on that hill overlooking the San Fernando Valley and all the different studios, it's a very LA vibe. So I think, I think it kind of works for Hollywood, right? Mm-hmm. I'm a little more on the fence when it comes to the Orlando version, but we'll see, right?
I think it's another great, here's an e-ticket thrill ride. I think, that's not a bad thing at the Universal parks, because I think the Universal parks in particular are more oriented towards older, I would say like older teens and up instead of the Disney, which is focused on everybody, total wide shot.
Sure.
And so I think in a Universal park, I do think like a more thrilling ride is definitely going to draw people in. But again, I think Epic has the same problem where like everything is an e-ticket attraction. Everything is just you're going to wait for hours to do anything. And I'm curious to see like how are they going to offset all of these major rides? I don't know, but I do think the other factor with this, I think, in upgrading everything else, I think what they're trying to do is encourage people to invest in the park to park ticket, so that they then can, oh well, Epic's ride times are really high today. Let's jump over to Island of Adventure and see what we can do, or let's so I'll be interested to see how this all levels off.
Well, it's very interesting that you mentioned all that because Swag Cotton, he actually said that the layouts are going to be completely different between, the Studios Park out here in Orlando compared to Universal Hollywood. The one thing that drives me nuts, and I mean drives me to the point where my ADHD just skyrockets to the roof, is that the fact they called it the exact same name on both coasts instead of saying, okay, Universal Hollywood can keep Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift, and they couldn't call this something like, oh, Fast and Furious Orlando Drift or New York Drift or something other where it's not a carbon copy of the same name. Now, I do have to say, though, besides the name, it looks like their track is going to be a different color, because our track in Hollywood is basically Velocicoaster colors.
Right.
So it's all that charcoal gray color. This one kind of looks like it's going to be like almost like a light silver with a kind of midway dark blue.
Right.
And Orlando's is going to have the spike, which we're not going to have a spike. But then again, they might have it might be a little more thrilling for us because ours is built on a hill. Theirs is built flat.
Well, and yes, exactly. That's why I think ours has that advantage. That hill element of it creates a crazy component. The other thing too, and I'm glad you brought it up, Conductor, the New York thing, because this is a New York area, right? From what I understand, and they're calling it Hollywood Drift. This is the thing. Look at DCA. Look how nitpicky the fans are with the California theme. Oh, Cars Land. I mean, technically, that's Arizona. It's like, come on, you guys. Route 66 is so California. It's not even funny, right? I get it. It's technically Arizona, but Route 66, though, fits that California vibe, right? But I don't see the same, like, nitpickiness with Universal. Maybe there's not as much of, like, that nostalgic pull, and that's what is going on here. But I can tell you right now, if this was a Disney park and they put a California coaster in the middle of a New York area, the fans would be furious.
They would be so mad.
Oh, so mad.
Pissed. But it looks like it looks like they are going to have a wonderful layout, and I'm definitely going to go check it out when it's built and open. It just, like I said, the one thing that bugs me about that project is the name, not the layout, not the fact that it's a different. It's the name. It's just like you couldn't just. I don't know. It bugs me above all else. So, yeah. But we're gonna take you Magic and the Murphys to the west side now, to the west side.
West side.
West side.
West side.
That's all OG. He has all the stuff back.
There we go.
So right in this back area here, we're watching active demo work and reworking of this area. This is where this Coco boat ride, where they announced at D23 2024 that it was going to be based off the Shanghai Pirates. I have to ask you, since you're a Florida vlogger, you cover all the Florida parks. By looking at this and thinking to yourself, okay, can a water attraction based off a Shanghai Pirates version of Coco fit in this area? Because me and OG are kind of like, we're confident, but we're not confident. It's like a small spot, but it isn't a small spot. What do you think by looking at that?
The interesting thing to me that is one of the differences between California and Florida. Again, Florida, we have the benefit of size. We just have a ton of area, a ton of land, a ton of space to be able to say, just put it over there, it's fine. The Beyond Big Thunder Mountain expansion is a good example of that, right? The interesting thing about California is that y'all have to play Tetris with your rides. Your rides have to fit in there perfectly, or else you're out. And especially because, I mean, like, this roadway is open. Like, people are driving on that road. You're going to go right up to the property line, and you're going to build on that property line. It will be interesting to me to see how they're going to fit this in here. However, if it is anything like the Shanghai ride that I've seen videos of, it'll be a great experience. So I'm excited to see if it does come out, how close. Well, I mean, obviously it's coming out. They're building it, but like how close to the original it's going to end up being will be an interesting part for me.
Yeah, I'm very curious how they utilize technology. And I think that might be the missing piece here, because we're looking at it and like from the naked eye, it doesn't look like a huge amount of space. Now it will open up a little bit because there is a road that goes through the middle right now that's temporary just for construction, but still it's not a huge amount of space for a boat ride of all things, right? Yeah. But I think that maybe with the utilization of new technology, maybe they can work this thing. Maybe it will be maybe 2 layers or 2 floors, right? Where you have a drop and they can utilize like a 2-story building. I don't know, a show building. We'll kind of see how it shakes out. But I will say this though, we have such a huge Latin community out here in California, right? Like, I mean, it is built into the fabric of California, right? Tupac once said it wouldn't be LA without Mexicans. He was absolutely right. He was absolutely correct with that, right? So and honestly, it's I don't know how we have a park about California that doesn't have like a Latin part of it built in from day one. That was weird to me in the first place, but they really have to hit a home run though. I really have to hit a home run with this thing. I really hope this thing can just knock it out of the park. My bigger concern than the size is really the proximity to the coaster. You know how I feel about Pixar Pier, but like, I just feel like if you're going to have this quaint little Mexican village vibe, hopefully they can kind of shield it from the coaster stuff. That's my biggest concern, because that could kind of like interfere with, and this is me being a douchey like theme park nerd. I think the families, the normies and stuff aren't going to care as much, but I just hope that doesn't bleed in, like the coaster stuff doesn't bleed into the experience. That's one of my bigger concerns with putting it here. So we'll see. Yeah,
no, 100%. And I want to ask you both, because OG, you went to Epcot, right?
Oh yeah, when I went to Disney World 3 years ago, that was like my second favorite park, and I made sure I did that twice. I loved Epcot, so yeah.
Okay. The reason I bring that up, because, you know, obviously we were talking earlier about Galaxy's Edge and how Disney duplicated both lands like identical.
Right.
Do you think, because I've heard you say it many times before, OG, about the 3 Caballeros ride at Mexico Pavilion. Do you think it's even remotely possible they would duplicate this Coco attraction and replace the 3 Caballeros, or leave the 3 Caballeros alone and have that there and Coco here, so it entices people to come from the West Coast to the East Coast and vice versa, East Coast to the West Coast? So you're not duplicating.
Yeah, it's interesting because I love the 3 Caballeros. I think it's a beautiful movie. I love what they did with it, and I love that I actually do like that attraction quite a bit. It's a smaller kind of scale attraction, but it's great. Coco is a bigger franchise right now, though. So I could see it happening. I do know there were like rumors like years ago that they wanted to do that into like a Coco thing, but also there is with Epcot, and Austin, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there is also an element of like the connection to like Mexico, though. I think Mexico actually is part of like that pavilion. So I don't know how that whole thing works with changing it out to Coco, if they need to talk to Mexican officials or whatever to get that done. I'm not really sure.
I have no idea where they are in those relations these days politically. I have no idea what they're doing there.
No idea. Yeah, exactly. Me too. So I don't know how that would even work on the back end, but I could see them doing it. Now I do think our Coco attraction will be more technically advanced than the Fiesta tour. I do believe it will be more advanced for sure. I'm sure we're gonna get some crazy animatronics. Disney likes to usually have maybe like one big animatronic marvel to kind of tout. So we'll probably get something like that. I think the boats themselves will have new technology and stuff. So we'll see. I think it'll be a great attraction. But I am like scratching my head though. Like it's not a lot of room, and it's very close to the roller coaster. So we'll kind of see. Yeah.
No, 100%. So we'll have to wait and see, because one of the things, if you ever go ahead and watch our series, Magic and the Murphys, or anyone in the chat, me and OG have been doing a series called This Week in Disney News, and we react to content creators of like David from Fresh Baked, Hey Bricky, and some other content creators as well. And one of the things we've consistently, revisited throughout the episodes is the Coco construction project and the Avatar construction project. Is Disney going to give us more clarification on that when it comes to D23 in a couple months? Because it's kind of a little back and forth. At least with Coco, they are moving along. There's active construction, but Avatar hasn't even started yet, because they haven't even started the Eastern Gateway yet. And that's part of the problem we have here on the West Coast. Like you said, we're playing Tetris. One thing has to be built for another thing to be built for another thing to be.
No, you're right, Conductor. And that's why I'm not too worried when there's all these rumors swirling about Avatar being canceled and stuff. I wasn't too worried about it, because you're right. Like, it is Tetris. Like, a lot, like, for example, Avengers and even this whole Coco thing. These are areas that are not like guest facing, so they're easier to dig into. Avatar is more complicated. Avatar, we're removing an area that guests could actually experience. So I could see why that is going to take a little bit more like of that finagling to kind of get that in there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not too concerned. But yeah, D23 though, they have to give us something. I mean, we're likely going to get a lot of detail on the Avengers stuff, I think, almost certainly. Coco, I think as well, because it's currently being built. And they have to give us something on Avatar.
Yeah,
they have to. Yeah, so I think we're going to get news on all this stuff.
Unless it is canceled, they might just let it silently drift off into the night.
Well, and that's a great point, Austin. If we don't get any news on Avatar at D23, then I would agree with you. I think that's a possibility. If they don't give us news at D23 about Avatar, then it probably is.
Then it's done. Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you this though, because we saw this with the Magic Kingdom and the Rivers of America. Okay. They didn't mention anything at the parks panel, but yet a couple days after D23, then they announced it on social media. So they didn't have Tomorrow go on stage, or should I say Bob Chapek go on stage and sit there and say, yep, Rivers of America is going away for a Cars Land. They rather just put it on social media and then just.
Well, that was that was a move I felt was really dirty. I did not like that. That was dirty, right, Austin? I mean, look,
it was
completely, like, you made a decision get on that stage and own it. And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not even against the decision. I think it's a right move for Magic Kingdom. I do. But you can't get Tomorrow on stage, get all the applause for a new thing coming, and then like that Monday when everyone's going home, slip in, and here's this.
Oh, and by the way, we're doing this thing. Like, what? Wait, what was that? What was that? What'd you say?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, it was messy. It was bad. It was really bad. And like,
Yes.
I went out to Tom Sawyer Island and I did a video about like, okay, should this stay? Should this go? Kind of thing. And ultimately, you know, spoiler alert for those of you who are planning on watching it on my channel. It was time. It was time to get rid of that island. It was time to move forward. Would I like to see something happen with the riverboat? Yeah, absolutely, obviously. And cast members have told me as recently as like 2 weeks ago that the riverboat is still backstage. It's just sitting there.
I've heard that too. They did not demolish it.
They didn't demolish it. It's just floating backstage. So I don't know what's going on. So I would like to see that like find a different purpose. Maybe something in like Disney Springs doing because they canceled a couple of the water routes in Disney Springs during COVID. So maybe it could do that, or up and down the like the river in that area to do, you know, park transportation, water transportation. I don't know. But I would like to see something happen with that. But I don't know. It was so messy that year that like, if I had been at D23 and they just casually dropped this on a Monday without telling anybody, it felt like they didn't talk. It felt like nobody knew what was going on. And like, well, I don't know. Do we want to put the boss in this situation where he says this and da-da-da? It was messy. It was dirty.
Yeah.
It was dirty. And here's the thing, Josh tomorrow, look, I'll praise him all day long, but I'll also criticize him, right? Here's the thing. I think he hit a home run with the announcements at that expo. But here's the thing. He was also running to be the next CEO during that time. So he knew he had to hit a home run at that expo, especially the last couple expos were that blue sky stuff. And he knew like the fans were not having the blue sky stuff. So he needed to have a hit expo. That's why it felt especially dirty, because it was like, all right, I'm going to get up there and be the hero and announce everything under the sun. Every resort's getting everything, right? And then on Monday, like slide this news in. See, that's why.
But I didn't tell you.
Yeah,
I didn't tell you. I didn't do it. So you can't be mad at me. Yeah, it was
right. It was a sleazy move. It was a sleazy move. But that's why I still feel, and Conductor, you and I have talked about this. I think there's more to that Hollywood Land thing. I think there's more. Okay, we lost the red car trolley, which I will never forgive Disney for that. Okay. I'm a vibes guy. The red car was a national treasure, and I can't believe they got rid of it. But I would bet you there's another shoe that's going to drop, and that wouldn't surprise me if it's the Hyperion, or like our good friend Bricky was speculating, that PhilharMagic or something. I think there's another part of this puzzle piece that they're going to announce either maybe before the expo in a blog or after, like they did with the Rivers of America, and do it. There's something going on with this thing.
Okay, so here's my prediction on that. I'm going to tell you this right now. If they're going to get rid of one of those things, this is how I see the layout. PhilharMagic, they will announce at the parks panel at the Honda Center. They won't have any issues announcing, hey, we're getting rid of it, include it in part of the Avatar footprint. The Hyperion, I guarantee it, they're going to play the dirty route again, and they will announce it Monday morning, Tuesday morning, when everyone's flying back. I can promise you that, because everyone will complain, and they have every right to complain, because that theater inside is stunning. It's beautiful, but catering to rent-a-businesses is not beneficial to the Disney guests that's paying an arm and two legs to sit there and enjoy a day at Disney.
I mean, that's a lot, dude. When you're paying with two legs,
that's true.
I mean, man, dude, that's crazy. That's crazy.
They call them Lieutenant Dan. That's a different.
Exactly. I mean, at least they're standing on business, right? Oh,
yes. Oh, too soon.
Oh man. And Jason Hill, good friend of the channel of me and Orange Grove 55. He says, "Did they ever give us a opening time frame for Avengers?" No, they didn't.
Nope.
They
Nope.
didn't even give us an opening time frame for Avatar, for Coco. So it's like, you know, we're all thinking we're getting gypped here, but we're all forgetting that Disney didn't give us an official date on these projects to be open. But it's like, okay, well, you know, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I think the biggest risk that we run at D23, specifically for the West Coast, is they have announced all this money everywhere. I mean, was it like $60 billion
Yeah.
across the parks and resorts and all this money? I think with the economy being where it is, we're definitely at risk for some of that money not coming through. Some of these projects are definitely going to be dialed back. Some of these projects are going to have to go on the table, or even in the trash can. And I will be interested to see which ones go where, or if it ends up being projects that we haven't announced yet that end up getting swiped off the table instead.
Yes.
Because I think the one difference that, like, and you see the difference in the two brands, Disney tells you we're going to do all this great amazing stuff, and then they underdeliver, overpromise, underdeliver. Whereas Universal does the opposite, where they don't tell you anything's happening until
Right.
it's already happening.
Yes.
And
No,
they
you're right,
underpromise,
Austin.
overdeliver. And I think there's a risk of some of that happening again, especially with the economy being where it is, and Josh taking over and reprioritizing where things might be. Now, I do think that Josh was more involved in the decisions under Bob Iger, given his. I mean, like, let's be real. We saw the ramp up that Josh D'Amaro was going to be the next CEO. We saw it coming. It wasn't a surprise to anybody when they were like, "Yeah, Josh D'Amaro's the CEO," and we were like, "What? No!" Like, he's been with Bob for every event for the last, I think, 5 years. So, like, it made sense. But something's going to have to give somewhere unless the economy takes a turn. I don't know where it's going to be.
No, you're right. And here's a dilemma that Disney's in. They have a biannual every other year, the D23 Expo, where they are obligated basically and expected to announce park stuff.
Yep.
And then with that expectation, though, they have to announce this stuff where Universal doesn't have to do that. They don't have Comcast Con every other year, for Universal. So Universal
That'd be a different event, wouldn't it?
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? It'd be crazy.
Guys, I'm going to Comcast Con. I'll be
Exactly.
Sounds like an awful event.
Oh my god, dude. Can you imagine? But Disney's obligated to do that. And here's the thing too. D23, I think a lot of times is sort of used as a way to elevate certain executives. Like, for example, D'Amaro, he utilized that event in 2024 to elevate his stance in that CEO race, right?
Yep.
The problem with that kind of stuff happening at D23 is that when they do that, it's like promises made, but like, are they going to be kept, right? Because Josh now is CEO, so he got what he wanted. So how much of an obligation does he have now, or not even an obligation, but like an interest to even follow through with everything? Because he had his big show in 2024. Now he's got the job. Now he can go in there and be like, well, actually, this project, we're going to cancel that one, right? He could, so when it's used as a corporate sort of trampoline for these guys and gals to kind of move up the corporate ladder, that's a problem too. So D23 causes a lot of issues for Disney. It's a great event. I love it, but it does complicate things.
I think the other thing that they're going to run into is the same issue that Apple started running into. Apple every single year had this worldwide developer conference, WWDC, every year, and they would announce these products and they'd announce it was a major thing every year, and they'd live stream it and they did all this stuff. And in the last couple of years, they've started dialing back, and they just kind of quietly release a video, and they don't do these big massive things, and if they do, they'll have an event and invite some people, but it's not at the level that it was before. And Apple started running into this situation where, like, you know, the difference between the iPhone 16 and the iPhone 17 was,
Not
it was
not much
there.
different.
There were differences, but they weren't so different that it was like, oh, we have to have an event. This is a new thing. Whereas, like, Apple Vision Pro was a new thing. I
Sure.
think Disney is kind of now in that cycle where, like, if we have an event every 2 years, we have to present something to these people every 2 years, meaning we have to perform. And I don't know if they're up to I don't know if they're up to that based on how quickly or things change. I don't know.
Well, see, the other problem that I see with the Disney community is if they keep going on this pace every 2 years, D23, they're forced to announce new things, and then they cancel a lot of those projects years after the fact. Is it going to start becoming a trend within the Disney community where everything we hear at the Honda Center, or if they change the venue, and hope to God they do, and they move it to Angel Stadium, which would be such a better option, so you can actually have a chance to buy tickets to go and see the panels, is that once all the projects are announced, so let's say they announce 10 things, okay? 10 things for Disneyland, 10 things for Walt Disney World. And then we're all looking and doing content. We're all looking, okay, probably 6 out of those things are probably going to be canceled, or 5 of those things are going to be canceled. And now we start doing videos, we start having live streams, and we start talking about, hey, we're making predictions on what Disney's going to cancel. Is that really the road that Disney wants to see? Because they've openly admitted that, they watch a lot of our content throughout the Disney community because they want to know what's being said about things they announce, things that are going on in the parks. It's for them to better understand and correct some of the issues. And does Disney really want to have that problem now with all the other problems they've had in the past?
No, I agree. I agree with you. Now, real quick, yes, they do watch the content. I actually got an email from Josh Giammaro's rep that my recommendation for hair product, he completely loved it. So, not kidding. I was kidding.
For a
No.
second there, I was like, wait, what?
What?
I did not realize I was in with Disney greatness here. Like,
You know what I'm saying? A little special access, No, but but no, in all seriousness though, you're absolutely right, Conductor. This is the problem.
Uh-oh. You went mute.
Sorry about that.
You did go mute.
Problem. You don't want to become Lucasfilm. I love Star Wars, but one of the big issues that Star Wars has is that they announce stuff, movies, trilogies, series, all this stuff, and then they don't follow through with it, right? And you get to a point where the fandom doesn't really believe your announcements anymore. So Disney has to be very, very careful when it comes to that kind of stuff. If you're going to announce it, you got to follow through. You got to follow through, because once that trust is broken, it's really, really hard to get it back, and you don't want to be in that position. So we'll see.
Yeah,
I'd argue I think we're already on that road. I think, given the history that has already the pattern that has already been established, I think we're already on that road. And I think it comes down to Josh D'Amaro to say, no, we're not doing that anymore, because this is his first D23 as the boss. And I think he has the authority to say, no, we're not doing that anymore. We need to correct this issue. But I would argue that we are already on that path. And I think if he doesn't actively say, no, we need to fix this, dangerous road.
No, 100%. The last thing I want to ask you, and this is a very quick topic. I know OG has, so this is a question more to you, Magic, is have you seen these this year's nominees for the Disney Legend ceremony? And Do you have any issues with any of those people? And I can promise you, I'm going to guess one person particularly that you're going to say, that doesn't make sense. But
I had seen them. I don't have them memorized. So let me pull them
Hold
up
on.
here. Legends. These are already. Hold on, that's this year's. 26. No.
This is going to be the last topic, everybody, and then we're going to end it tonight. But let me pull it up. Real quick.
Okay, 2026 honorees. Chris Berman, television. Okay. Jerry Bruckheimer. Okay. Susan Egan. Eric Goldberg, definitely well deserved there.
Yes.
Anne Hathaway. All right, I'm okay with that. She's a princess. Makes sense. I don't know who Chris Berman is, but he looks like a sportscaster. So I'm assuming
he
that's
is.
what he does.
He
Okay,
is
I'm not a sports guy. So go sports ball. I don't know.
I'm the same way, brother. I'm the same way. I don't watch any of that stuff, man.
I have none of them, but it's like my brother plays baseball, and I always feel bad because I'm like, go sports. I have no idea what's going on. But Jerry Bruckheimer, I think, is appropriate. Susan Egan is absolutely well deserving of that actual princess. Eric Goldberg, absolutely amazing. Anne Hathaway, on board. Bob Iger, absolutely. Alan Tudyk, if you don't know who Alan Tudyk is, you should. He should absolutely be a legend. Lin-Manuel, I've been following Lin-Manuel's career since I was in high school, and he is doing such amazing things in musical theater and for the Disney company. I'm on board with that. Kim Irvine, absolutely, I'm on board with. You lose me at The Rock.
Really?
Look, I love Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I think he's doing great work in film. I love Jungle Cruise. I think that's a great movie.
Sure.
Any of the work that he's done. I mean, he did like 4 movies in which he was always in khaki right in a row. It was like Jumanji 2, Jungle Cruise, and there was something else. There was some other movie that he was in khaki. And I think he's a great actor. I think he does great work. But specific to the Disney company, I can only think of Jungle Cruise. Am I missing something?
Moana. He was a voice for Maui.
Okay, voice of Maui and Moana.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, that's still pretty thin though for a legend, right?
I mean, especially when you look at the other people that are in this lineup. I mean, Susan Egan has been the voice of Belle, the voice of Megara, actually on Broadway. Eric Goldberg has. I mean, he drew all of Genie for Aladdin. He's done amazing things. Anne Hathaway has been a princess, a queen, and like the Devil Wears Prada franchise has brought amazing money and success into the company. Bob Iger is Bob Iger. We don't even have to talk about that. But like, and not that I don't think Dwayne Johnson isn't a great actor. I do. I think he's a great actor. I love his work. I just don't know that he's a Disney legend.
I feel you, Austin. I feel you. And that's been one of my biggest critiques about the Disney Legend Award thing. When you have the word legend, I'm thinking okay, legend is Eric Goldberg, the Sherman Brothers, Mary Blair, Frank and Ollie, the Nine Old Men. Like, these are legends. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
The Rock, why? Because he voiced Maui and he did the Jungle Cruise. It's just not enough for me, you know?
Yeah. And like Jerry Bruckheimer has done 15 bajillion TV shows and movies. He did all the National Treasure movies. That like he has had a long and storied career. And Pirates. Pirates is one of my favorite. I mean, like you can't even see my tattoo if I do the. Awesome. I've got a compass rose on my arm. But like he's brought a ton of stuff into the company. Lin-Manuel, same deal. Alan Tudyk has voiced like every character that you can think of that you were like, who voiced that character? That's Alan Tudyk. That's who did all those.
Dude, K2SO was one of my favorite characters in Rogue One. I love K2SO. He was amazing. Now, here's the thing.
Amusement Park Pirates. I gotta point this out real fast. Amusement Park Pirates. I 1000% agree with your comment. I feel like Jim Cummings should be a Disney legend. Absolutely.
How is he
Swap
not
out-
already?
Swap out The Rock with Jim Cummins, and I'm on board. Well, and you can also get rid of the Joe Bros, but all right, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. No,
I'm
exactly.
not a tween girl, so whatever.
No, I feel you on that. I'm in the same boat. I guess we're not the demo, Austin. I don't know.
No, we're not.
It's wild. I will say this. Yeah, Jared mentioned it. Eisner. Yeah, and this is my biggest issue with the Bob Iger. I do believe Bob Iger is a legend. Okay, because I do believe he transformed the Walt Disney Company by buying Pixar, which I think was brilliant, bringing back Oswald, Marvel, all that. I think Iger did a lot of great stuff, and I do believe he is worthy of that legend title.
I think
Agreed.
it's just too soon.
Yes, too soon.
Agreed.
And I think it's a sin. How is Michael Eisner? Michael Eisner saved the company with Frank Wells, and he's not a legend yet. I don't understand that at all.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Come on, Michael Eisner? This guy, dude, what he did with animation, what he did for Walt Disney World. I mean, insane amount of growth on his watch. And this company was circling the drain in the early 80s. I mean, there's all kinds of companies and investment firms circling Disney. They're going to buy pieces of this company up. And Eisner and Wells came in there and they built an empire that Iger benefited from, right? Iger couldn't have done what he did if not for Michael Eisner. So Eisner should be on here. I don't know why it's taken him so long. I've heard rumors he didn't want it, but I question that because his name is on the building.
Animosity there.
Yeah,
there's been a lot of animosity there. He had a lot of commentary about the recent changes. I don't know if anybody saw that, but I forget his exact wording, but it was not very kind.
It wasn't pleasant. It was not pleasant. Oh my
God.
God.
No, exactly.
John hit it on the head too, talking about Katzenberg. I think, without Eisner and Katzenberg, we don't have really any of the Renaissance period films that we ended up with. I think, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, any of that slew right there, Lion King, all of those in the 90s.
Yeah.
We owed all of them. And Katzenberg ended up. I mean, Katzenberg's doing fine for himself with his own, Shrek and all that stuff. But yeah, Eisner, I think, has a lot of animosity toward the company since his departure, and I do wonder if that probably has something to do with that. I would imagine if somebody offered it to him, he might be like, no, I'm not interested.
Well, and that's what I've heard. I heard he did turn it down. But the weird thing about that rumor, though, about him turning down the Legends Award, which I get it, I could see him doing that. But in the Burbank studio, one of those, the big massive building, I think it's the one with the 7 dwarfs on it.
It is.
Has his name on it, and I'm like, okay, well, that's weird because if he doesn't want to be like recognized as a Disney legend, I understand that. But he signed off on his name being on that ginormous building, though. Like, it's just weird to me. There's something, I agree with you, Austin. There's something going on behind the scenes with him. I just don't know what it is, but there's something going on there. But he's a legend, and he should get that award. I don't know. I think it's crazy he hasn't gotten it.
I do think Bob Iger deserves it.
Yeah, me too.
I definitely agree with you that, like, this does feel like, oh, hey, thanks for retiring. Here's your legend, and get out the door. It kind of feels a little like that, which isn't the greatest look, but
and it's so soon. I mean, look at some of these people that are on this list, like Eric Goldberg. I mean, look how long it took him to get one, and it's like Bob Iger, the seat's still warm from where he sat in the company, and he's already getting an award.
Well, and a lot of these people, I mean, Jerry Bruckheimer and Susan Egan, I mean, these are people, and Eric Goldberg have all been Kim Irvine, 30 plus years with the company. They've made major shifts within the company. And then we have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and the Jonas Brothers. So, I don't know. What are we calling legend these days?
I mean, Austin, really. Austin, I mean, the Jonas Brothers have the same award that the Sherman Brothers have. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, let's be real, right?
I will say this: if The Rock does not make a tiny Legends Award and give it to Kevin Hart, I will be disappointed. I need to see him make like a little tiny one and be like, "Here you go, Kevin. You're also a Disney legend."
my
And Kevin be
God.
like, "What, man? This is ridiculous." I think that'd be great. That'd be
Yeah,
awesome.
no.
I
Now
love
I'm gonna
their
be
relationship.
disappointed.
I think it's so cute.
Oh, dude, I love that. And if now I'll be disappointed if that doesn't happen. Like, I need that to
Yeah.
happen.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. Too funny, but gentlemen, it was amazing live stream. Thank you everybody in the chat. You guys were amazing, especially Remy D gifting one theme park conductor membership. Thank you, Remy D, so very much. Orange Grove 55, my partner in crime when it comes to online content. Love you, brother. Doing great. Keep up the amazing work. Can't wait to celebrate 15,000 with you. You're on that road. And Magic and the Murphys, your first time on a Conductor Sunday live stream. And believe me, it will not be your last because I want you to come on quite frequently if you're available because you have a lot of great insight. And everybody in the chat, please go check out Magic and the Murphys.
Yes.
I had the opportunity to be part of a live stream on Amusement Park Pirates the other night. That's where I got to meet him. And then I spent all day yesterday watching a lot of his content. Great content. I loved it. Great information. Go check him out on YouTube and his socials. But I'm going to start with Orange Grove 55. Where can everyone find you on social media?
Yeah, no, it was an honor talking shop with Austin and Theme Park Conductor. You guys are amazing gentlemen. And Austin, you're always welcome on OG55. We got to get you on my channel as well. But yeah, dude, I mean, a great show today. I had a really good time with everybody. You can find me on YouTube, Orange Grove 55, talking theme parks, studio, all that good stuff. Actually, tomorrow night, we're dropping a video, myself and Mr. Seymour Duck, about the Mandalorian Grogu box office. So make sure you check that out. Got a lot of great stuff coming in the upcoming weeks, a lot of surprises. So check it out. You can also find me on Instagram, Orange Grove 55. You can also find me on X, Orange Grove 55, where I learned the hard way not to tweet about Star Wars on X. Yeah, so there you go.
There's a story there.
Yeah.
And Magic and the Murphys, again, a wonderful time with you being on the live stream. Again, can't wait to have you back on. Where can everyone find you on social media? And absolutely.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. It's been great meeting you both in the last couple of days. We spent a lot of time together the last couple of days, and no regrets, no regrets, as they say. I appreciate everybody who stopped in tonight. You can find us on YouTube. That is our main domicile, Magic and the Murphys, like it is right here on screen. You also can check out our website, magicandthemurphys.com. I am a Disney travel agent who specializes in Disney destinations and all cruise lines, Royal Caribbean, Virgin, all of them. So check out our website if you're looking to plan your next vacation. All my services are completely free to use, so check that out. Social media, you can find us on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, X, and Threads are all our handles there. So thanks again for having me, everybody. I appreciate it. And I certainly will be back anytime y'all need me. Just hit me up. I'm lucky enough to do this through the grace of my lovely wife. I am lucky enough to do this all the time. So whenever you need me, just hit me up.
Absolutely. And you can find me, Theme Park Conductor, on YouTube, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor, on X at Theme Conductor, TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1, and every Sunday at 5 or 7 p.m. for Conductor Sunday live stream, where we have amazing guests like these two gentlemen, Orange Grove 55, Magic and the Murphys, and so many others as we break down Disney and Universal news as the countdown clock literally begins as we inch closer and closer to D23, where hopefully a lot of questions get answered, maybe, and see Josh with his primped hairstyle. Can't wait to see that, and his cardigan. Dude, the other night, I have to tell you, seeing OG in a cardigan, I nearly dropped to the floor laughing.
I'm telling you, man. I was like, we were talking Bob Iger, we were talking cardigans. I'm like, I'm gonna get mine. I got my cardigan.
You got
and
your
I'm-
built-in cosplay for the con. There you go.
Exactly. All I need is a cardigan, and then you do like that white button-up shirt, but unbuckled, no tie.
And the name
right?
tag. You just need the name tag that says Josh, and you're there.
There you go. Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
I
But
love it.
I will see you guys, or I'll see everybody next Sunday on Conductor Sunday live stream. But programming note, on June 3rd, I will be at Universal Studios Hollywood for the annual pass holder takeover night. So definitely stay tuned. If you see me in the park, I encourage you to come up and say hello. Believe me, you're not bugging me. You're not disturbing me. I enjoy it. I love it. And I'll have some souvenirs to give out to you if you come say hello. So definitely do so.
Love it. Love it. Conductor, but you forgot to share your ASMR channel information.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Details coming soon.
There you go. There you go. Exactly.
Oh,
I love it.
But have a good
Pull
night,
my
everybody.
headphones out. That was a whole experience there. Jeez.